Welcome to America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus. Great to have you with us here on the weekend. Our show is brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net. Today, it is a gorgeous Saturday afternoon here in Belmont, New York. Good crowd on hand as we get set for the third and final leg of our Turf Triple Series. Here's our shots. Greg Wolf, four-time Major League All-Star, Paul LaDuca, New York Racing Association handicapper, Andy Serling. Good to be with you guys, and we have some very good races to talk about this afternoon. We're on until 4:30 Eastern time today. We're going to bring the first 7 races on the card. Of course, later today, third and final leg of the Triple Series, and we're going to have for sure, among the Colts, well, not for sure, I guess, but a rematch, I should say, of the winners of the first 2 legs. And the top 2 finishers from the Saratoga Derby back in action. How do you see that Derby playing out? Some new shooters coming in from Europe as well.
Yeah, I think the Europeans hold a very strong hand in both races, and I think Paul and I agree on this one. If Spanish Mission shows up, the U.S. horses could be in a lot of trouble in there.
Yeah, listen, this is a colt with a ton of talent, son of Noble Mission. Actually, Kentucky pedigree. We've seen Noble Mission a couple times. Obviously, the Travers winner was sired by Noble Mission, but race number 1 is getting ready, and get your early pick 5s and almost 400,000 in the early pick 5 pool.
And I don't know about you, Andy, but Paul and I were talking offset here. In this race, New York bred entry level allowance, 6 furlongs. We both thought Cash Offer did not have to win this race. Who's the 1-5 favorite?
I picked the 7, let me have it. So I'm with you guys, and I think he's a little overbet. He's the horse to beat, and he's the speed, but why can't the 7, Third Star Vallejo, getting back to the dirt, be a player in here?
Yeah, there she is. She's the one to catch, no question. Could be lone speed.
Could be lone speed. But the other part of this is the 1. Girls of Tuscanova, I thought, had a shot. Charlie Baker usually has a great Saratoga meet, had a mediocre one, but he won a big race on closing day. So maybe his barn could be getting going here early at Belmont.
Yeah, the only really bad race she ran, that was in Grade 2 company. Demoiselle, this will be her 3-year-old debut, talking about the rail runner, Girl of Tuscanova. We are set for the start. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Start of the early pick 5 and our Saturday card. Here's Larry Colmus.
They're all in line. Breaking through the gate are both Moon Heist and Pas de Deuce. Both of those runners have broken through the starting gate, but immediately picked up by the gate crew, and will head back behind the starting gate. Slight delay here.
So the 3 and the 4 both break through the gate. Before we even lined up for this race, we had a pony drop.
Yeah.
One of the riders as well. We've had some strange going on here early on as we get set to start this card. But luckily, these 2 fillies did not get too far away. It looks like they're going to be immediately loaded right back up, and that is the case. Again, 2-5 favoritism on Cash Offer. The 2 is we see Pas de Deuce moving back in with Rajiv Mirage. Let's try again.
They're off. Cash Offer and Moon Heist go out to the front together, opening up by a 3.5 lengths on Girl of Tuscanova, who came out running in 3rd position. And then it's Pas de Deuce, followed by Let Me Have It and Bustin' Scones will be the early trailers. So Cash Offer in front, but some early heat here from Moon Heist on the outside. It's just a neck back as they head to the half-mile pole. And these 2 get by this first quarter mile in 22.18 seconds, 5 lengths ahead of Girl of Tuscanova, running in 3rd by another 2. Then Let Me Have It racing on the outside of Pas de Deuce, and Bustin' Scones is the trailer. Cash Offer on top. Moon Heist making her work for it, but Cash Offer's getting away now to almost a length lead on Moon Heist. They've opened up 5 on Girl of Tuscanova, who's 3rd after a half mile of 45.01. They're into the stretch, and Cash Offer has shaken away this test from Moon Heist and arrives at the 8th pole with a 4-length lead. Girl of Tuscanova is 2nd, and she's trying to close the gap, as is Bustin' Scones on the outside. Cash Offer by the 16th pole with the rail in the lead. Girl of Tuscanova, Bustin' Scones on the outside. It's Cash Offer. Cash Offer did it. Bustin' Scones got 2nd. Girl of Tuscanova was 3rd. Moon Heist held 4th.
Had to work up front and still able to hang on and get the win at a very short price. Cash Offer kicks off the card for Mark Hennig.
Yeah, a lot of the other bettors that didn't back the heavy favorite here. They needed the 3 to stick around a lot longer, Moon Heist, and put a little bit more pressure on your favorite here, Cash Offer. So the 1 and 6 could try to make their moves here, but it just wasn't happening. You could see very, very chilly Luis Saez aboard the favorite.
And Buskins Gones actually made a real run. I agree. She did go up to a very strong 2 to 5 in here from her 1 to 5, and I don't know if that's winning like a 2 to 5 shot should, but Mark Hennig could be in position to sweep the early double, as he's got a heavy favorite in race number 2 as well with the 5 Cape Cod Diva.
Yeah, that one dropping in class we'll talk more about coming up. Going to be a very short price. 2 to 5 though. To kick things off, Luis Saez on board for the victory. And it's a gutty effort to get some heat up front and hold off these late closers.
Yeah, I don't think it was a bad effort at all. I mean, she's a horse that's, you know, checked in second 4 times, now gets the W, and before she's folded, there's just nobody in here that can make up the ground.
You know what I love about her, Paul? Look who finished second in her debut, where she finished 5th at Los Alamitos.
Oh yeah, Bellafina, wow.
I always enjoy looking at odd PPs like that, and she obviously, I don't.
What about the other one in the Bowery? Maybe she was 3 to 5. She was second to Newly Minted.
Yeah. Well,
The more you look at it now, you wonder why she was 2 to 5.
Newly Minted, who's 4 for 4 in the dirt.
Yeah.
You got to be looking forward to those New York bred stake races coming up.
Yeah, I mean, you saw all those 4 seconds and 6 starts coming in.
You think. So sometimes you think, okay, is this a horse that just likes to check in second? You end up finding out she's been raining against real horses.
Yeah. Track conditions brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on, pests gone. So is the graphic saying the turf conditions and track conditions. Fast and good. We're going to bring you the first 7 on the card this afternoon. Race 2, by the way, if you have a racing form for this afternoon, it was not listed in that racing form that race 2 will be on the inner turf. It was listed as main track. It actually will be on the inner turf. So race 2 on the inner turf. Keep that in mind as you handicap the second race coming up, as you get another look here at our winner in the opener.
Yeah, and the winner at 2 to 5. If you like your favorite in race number 2, the double is coming back $5.10 for $2 to the 5. So the 5 might be 2 to 5 in race 2, but Cash Offer will get the job done. This is a filly by Shackelford out of the Y mare. Wow, Patrick B. and Cohen.
Yeah.
Monomo.
Why win the
Redham Racing? Paul Redham. There's those colors right there.
Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf at Monmouth?
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
You know who's in that field? Gio Ponte.
Wow, that's actually that was a good little Trivial Pursuit there.
It was a bog, as you may remember. You probably were
Yeah, it
there.
was.
You guys were both probably there.
I don't know if I was at that one.
Monmouth
That was the one where the Zito horse won. It was a bog.
Yeah, Warpass won the juvenile.
Get signed up, started, play along with Naira Bets. $200 new member bonus when you use the promo code LIVE and sign up. Let's go to the winner's circle with Maggie Wolfendale.
Hey, Greg, and here with winning jockey Luis Saez aboard Cash Offer today on the lead all the way. Louis, that's a pretty easy way and fun way to start off the day.
Yeah, it was easy. I know she was pretty tough in the race, so she was ready for this, and thanks God she won pretty easy.
And you'll be looking for the same kind of trip, I would think, a little later on in the Jockey Club Derby. A thread of blue, he'll look to take the last 2 legs of this Trinity Series. There's not much pace in there, Louis. You going to employ the same tactics?
Yeah, well, that's the plan. You know, we're going to try to see if that came well and see. We hope everything came like that, and we have a nice trip, you know, a little slow. And when we came to the stretch, I know he always going to fight, so let's see.
Dole out those fractions going the 1.5 miles, Louis. Best of luck, and congratulations with the winner in the first.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maggie.
All right, Cash Offer. She didn't offer much cash, but she got the job done, Greg.
Do you see what she did there?
Very well done. A lot of people
My dog favorite to kick things off.
Yeah, and a lot of people forget that Mr. Redham, you know, we know him as with Doug O'Neill and I'll Have Another and all that, but he's had horses with Mark Hennig out here in New York for a longer probably period of time than he's had him out in California.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wonder sometimes if their relationship may have been from when Mark was out in California for Wayne Lucas.
Yeah, probably true.
All right, we need some value this afternoon after that start. We might have a very heavy favorite coming up.
I'm alive in the pick 5.
So am I.
We all are.
I used 2 as the world, so I think I'm
best bet. Where are you going to wind up today, Andy?
I hope I haven't stolen this one from you, but we've talked about it before, Paul, and I like Spanish Mission in the Jockey Club Derby later today. At the end of the day, This is a very talented European. The edge that he also has in the Americans is he's run successfully in the long-distance races on the turf. And all of these other horses, pretty much, except for Tone Broke, have not tried these longer distances. I think Spanish Mission may just be better than these horses, particularly the long distances, and should be a heavy favorite here. And in my opinion, anything over 8-5 might be value on Spanish Mission in today's Jockey Club Derby. And I think you agree with me, Paul.
Yeah, I do, because I think the horse got so much talent. The start's going to be the key because the horse has had so many issues out of the starting gate. But I learned my lesson already at Saratoga with a European that didn't break well and won, especially here at Belmont. I'm with Andy, Spanish Mission. I'm going to go to another European in the 9th race, the Jockey Club Oaks Invitational. I hope I'm saying this right. Adisa, the one horse in here, and trained obviously by a French trainer. And what does he do? He calls on a French jockey, but a local French jockey, not local, California jockey, and Flavien Prat. And this is a horse that has run second in a grade 3 and a grade 2 in her last 2 starts, and probably should have won. To me, her last start, I thought she ran great. She was dead last, and I think she'll be more mid-pack in here. And I just don't see any other filly in here that can run with her besides the other Europeans. And sometimes when you see these type of races, you worry about the Chad Brown runner. I don't see Chad Brown, thank God. See? Now you can pick a horse of that.
I got bad news. I like Adisa too.
Okay, good.
I love those Aga Khan horses. I don't know, I'm a sucker for the Aga Khan horse.
You guys are agreeing way too much lately. I don't know if I like this.
It's not good for any of us.
Jockey Club Oaks and Derby. Derby, you do need to worry about Chad Brown.
Yeah.
Not in the Oaks.
We might start playing karate in the garage pretty soon.
Did we just become best friends? Henley's Joy, can he do it again? Being back at Belmont, we'll discuss next on America's Day at the Races. Stay with us.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires. With Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf, and star performers both at home and abroad, Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach and Preakness Stakes hero War of Will. In the sales ring, his $2.4 million sale topper at Keeneland September was the highest priced yearling sold in North America last year. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
The thing I like the most is he's a nice bay colt with a little bit of white, just like his dad. I really think he's coming through, and he's out of an Empire Maker mare, so we feel like we've got speed on distance, and breeding a son that looks a lot like Run Happy is just kind of what we were looking for.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, it's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Our ABR race of the week. Third and final leg, the inaugural series of this Turf Triple and the Turf Trinity for the boys. First leg was won by Henley's Joy, 20-1 upset shocker. The Belmont Derby, leg 2, a thread of blue, gate to wire, 13-1. It has been chaos so far in the first couple of legs. What will happen in our third and final leg coming up? Here's a look at the field for the Jockey Club Derby to close it out. 1.5 miles on turf, and Henley's Joy, a thread of blue, back to meet again, as is Digital Age, who was runner-up in the Saratoga Derby.
I think a couple things in here, and I think Andy would agree with me. I think Henley's Joy is a bet against.
Really?
I do, because I just think that he got the trip of all trips when he did win the Belmont Derby. I get that. But this was Thread of Blue winning the Saratoga Derby. And is probably lone speed again today, but do they let him get away with 112? I don't think that's going to happen today, Andy.
Oh, I think it'll be much slower than that. I just don't know. They don't necessarily help him get in 1.5 miles. I actually think Henley's Joy will be close to him today. I think they're going to use his speed, which they used much more than Belmont Derby. I don't know what happened last time I think the question with Digital Age, who's probably the best of all three of them in talent, it's a question for all of them. But when you have a horse that likes to finish like he does, they're not necessarily as effective when they stretch out in distance. Does their finish get muted when they have to go farther? I mean, the big question with him is distance, right? Not talent.
Yeah, and so you're against more of the 9 than I am against. You're more against Digital Age than I am against Henley's Joy, which is interesting, yeah.
So a thread of blue, he led every step of the way. Saratoga Derby, that will be the game plan again today. Here's Kieran McLaughlin on the son of Hardspun.
He's training fabulous. He's came off of our big win up there, Saratoga Derby, and has had 3 works just like we wanted, and he's working great and doing well. We just hope that it stays firm. He's better on firm, but hopefully it's not too much rain. The 1.5 miles we're concerned with too, because we just don't know. We didn't know about 1 3/16 miles last time either, so he did that properly, so hopefully he can get the 1.5 miles. He drew a good post down on the inside, the 1 hole, shortest way around there, and he'll leave there running and hope no one clears us or goes with us. But if they clear us, it'll be fine. We can lay second. But I just hope he goes slow early and finishes strong.
For Henley's Joy, look, everything worked out perfectly for him in this race. He'd had some tough trips before. What are the odds he gets an absolutely perfect trip and perfect ride?
Could happen again.
Today.
Could happen again, like Andy said, because, you know, Jose gave this horse such a great ride, but he had him in the perfect spot. And if you look, 2, Current doesn't have much speed. The 4 and 5 are Europeans, so they're probably not going to break too fast. So Henley's Joy is going to get right to the rail and probably get a good trip.
I have to think he's going to be sitting pretty close behind him. I don't really think they took him back last time. It was kind of weird watching the race last time. He just sort of took himself out of the race, which is unusual for him. I have to think he'll be closer. I mean, you know, you're pointing it out, Paul. The only other horse that has any speed whatsoever is Tone Broke.
Yeah, right?
And maybe John Velasquez will look to sit second with him, but in which case Henley's Joy gets in the pocket behind them.
Yeah.
May not help them, but isn't that way it figures to set up?
It does. I mean, Tone Broke, actually, it's pretty crazy. Sometimes you see horses run through the rigors of the Triple Crown here in America. This horse ran in every single race in Canada in the Triple Crown and won 2 legs of it, one on dirt and the last one first time on turf. So Tone Broke's an interesting runner, but I don't know if he's talented enough. But yeah, he could be laying in a good spot or right behind Thread of Blue and Henley's Joy.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with Digital Age here. And talking about him last time, Irad Ortiz is the one who told Chad Brown, I want to be closer in that race last time. But 1.5 miles, how close does he want to be?
All right, we'll see. A return to Belmont's going to be big for Henley's Joy, too. It's the scene of the crime where he ran his best race. As we set up for the second race here, coming up, even money on Cape Cod Diva. Can Mark Hennig go back-to-back to kick off this card? Let's check in the paddock. Go to Maggie Wolfendale.
And just to kind of go back a second and talk about coming up in that Jockey Club Derby, I thought what Andy just said was quite interesting, because if you look at Digital Age's last work, it was very much a work that indicated to me at least that they are going to try to get a little bit more early speed, or at least be a little bit more tactical in his running style. So we'll see how that plays out a little bit later on. Looking forward to that 1.5 mile contest as we'll take a look at one going 6 furlongs here on the inner turf course. This race scheduled for the inner turf course. If you have DRF, if you have the form, it is incorrectly labeled as being on the dirt. It is on the inner turf course. As we'll begin by talking about likely post-time favorite in number 5, Cape Cod Diva. She's the one dropping in class and turning back to the shortest distance of what she's ever run in her career. But I like it. For her physically, it suits her well. She's a bit smaller. She's a bit more compact. Here in the paddock, she's fairly relaxed, which sometimes in the past, at least 2 back when I'd seen her, she was a little agitated in here, just kind of didn't seem all that comfortable. She ran fine that day, actually the best race of her career, finishing 3rd at 20-1, but I just think that this is a better situation for her, obviously dropping into that maiden claimer, and the cutback definitely doesn't hurt. Now moving on to number 1, Ari's Gal Suze. She did absolutely no running back in June for Michelle Nevin in the same kind of spot, but she comes in here, she's very much on her toes. She's a lot sharper, a lot more clued in, and furthermore, she's kind of awkward looking first time out. She wasn't really developed. She didn't look that strong across her top line, and she has done a bit of filling out. Not dramatically, but there is an improvement from first to second start. She has a bit of a gap in between performances, and she just, relative to this field also possibly, she looks good towards some of the others in here. And now a horse who's had her chances, she's 0 for 15, making her 16th start, number 2, Crater Rim. Another horse turning back in distance, and while she's run similarly at the different distances throughout her career, physically at least, I've always thought she's more of a sprinting type. She looks solid in here. She looks good. Like I said, she's had her chances, but probably one of the more weaker maiden 40s for the New York breds that we've seen in a while here. So I don't think she's out of the question whatsoever, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. She'll be cutting back in distance. We'll see if 16th time the charm for Crater Rim. We're going to take a break in the action. We have an even money favorite here in the second race. It kicks off the early pick 4 here on America's Day at the Races here on day 2 of this Belmont Fall Meet. Stick with us. Post parade coming up when we return.
Each year, a new dream begins. To achieve that dream, you could never rest on past success.
Audible, no doubt about it. He won it by 2.5.
Yoshida storming home in the center. Yoshida! Yoshida has won the one word.
Wake up, little one. It's time to dream big.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Whether you have Derby dreams or Midsummer Derby dreams, this is Tom Durkin to tell you a registered New York bred can take you there.
Diversify!
That New York bred Exact and the Whitney by multimillionaires Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits shows the kind of quality that allowed New York breds to earn more than $93 million on the world stage last year. On-track successes have spurred New York bred sales result. At the March OBS sale, Chestertown sold for $2 million. And this New York bred 2018 yearling brought $1 million at Saratoga. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Belmont, New York. Our show brought to you by the champion sprinter, Run Happy. Raced medication-free his entire career and now standing instead at Claiborne Farm at a legendary stall. Number 1 for $25,000. We're going to see his offspring on the racetrack in 2020. I'm so excited to see them when they get running.
Yeah, everybody already counting down the days to Saratoga next year. Well, I'm sure a lot of people that own Run Happies are.
Andy, do you know how many days until we line it up again in Saratoga? We should have a countdown clock.
Round 300.
Race 2.
Roughly.
Again, it is on the inner turf. Keep that in mind here for the second race as we take a look at the one here. Ari's Gal Sue's second start for Michelle Nevin.
From Paul LaDuca's favorite sire, New York Playboy, who I've never heard of, will have to improve off her debut.
It was Paulie's nickname with the Mets.
New York Playboy?
No.
Yep.
Crater Rim, the 2, 8-1. This is start number 16.
But I also haven't heard the sire of Crater Rim, Rimrod. So there's 2 for you.
He's a Danzig.
Kathy's Cause is 0 for 10, but there's some positives.
In this field, that race 4 back gives her a chance for a piece.
Yeah, third beat a neck. Actually had the lead in the stretch and was favored in that race. Blimsall Annie, the 4, a little tougher to make a case for.
Yeah, real tough to make a case for this play by Big Brown. She was 114-1 last time she raced.
6-5. Cape Cod Diva in for a tag for the first time.
Somebody just texted me, says it's Mark Hennig's birthday today. Well, he's looking to win 2 in a row with a heavy favors. Oddly high at 6-5.
That is strange, isn't it?
Yep.
Beans and Rice has speed at least.
Yeah, another horse by Can the Man. This horse did show some speed 2 back at Monmouth, sprinting on the turf.
Can, Beans and Rice, you got it, Paul.
Youth Gone Wild as a professional maiden at this point, right? Over 24?
Yeah. He actually ran a race 3 back that gives him a chance in here. That race 3 back, believe it or not, player.
Yeah, it was 62-1 that day. Ran second
right?
at those huge odds. Here's the 8, Miss Zeb Pat. This is a contender, 5-1 for David Donk.
Blinkers on the last 2 starts, and now Dylan Davis will be the pilot. 2 back, excuse me, last time had a little bit of issues, but I would think she'll run a little better today.
Abby Normal, Gene Wilder fans, 9-1.
Abby somebody. One of the greatest scenes in the history of Mel Brooks movies. Abby Normal. She's a player.
Yeah, and on the outside, Seattle Frost, can you make a case for it all?
Well, I mean, why not? Benji Hernandez has ridden this horse before, and she at least has some speed. If she can get in front of this group, anything can happen.
I know somebody who singled this horse.
What?
Pick 5 on May 10th.
Well, in my defense, listen to me. In my defense,
that was the best race she ran.
I got what I wanted from her that day, to be honest with you. She was on the lead. I thought she'd be on the lead by herself. She was. Yeah. And she just didn't have enough.
This is the crazy part about this race is when you look at the 5
like
that we have on the screen. Cape Cod Diva.
I made better.
She was 15-1, 21, 32-1 in her maiden special weight races. The rest of these horses, fillies have been in for tags. Besides the 3, they're all the 1 was 23-1. The 2 was 33-1. Beans and Rice was 28-1. The 7 was 26-1. You can go on and on. The 9, 17. How about the 10? The 10 was 2.5 to 1 the last start at Monmouth. How bad was that field?
And meanwhile, that was the favorite, finishing 3rd last time out to the talented Little Faith, who ran 2nd in a subsequent start at Saratoga and then had trouble in that race we showed last week at Saratoga. Obviously, Mark Hennig's hoping the cutback in distance will help. That was 7 furlongs.
And even, I know we're looking at the 8 right now, even at even money, does that concern you? I mean, this horse should be taking...
Horse should be 1 to 5.
Here's
I don't know about 1 to 5.
It's a double? It's a $5 double, Greg.
No, she's about 360 in the double. The first winner paid 280.
I guess.
Regardless, I actually would say how short a price can you expect horses in these lower level races, especially on the turf, to be? Got some rain, the turf is good. Don't get me wrong.
No,
I'm not trying to beat her. I just wonder.
I thought we'd see 4 to 5 at least.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought 3 or 4 to 5 was possible. 4 to 5. I actually didn't know he'd be that short, but I agree. 6 to 5 seems like a crazy overlay. Now we'll see what price she's at post time.
Well, here's the David Donk filly.
4 to 5 now. Greg.
You think she's the second best choice, second best option, Greg?
Miss Zeb Pat?
Yeah.
What about Crater Rim?
I do. Yeah, I think there's a few. Yeah, Crater Rim.
She's more likely raced than Crater Rim, Miss Zeb Pat, so she's probably a more likely winner if the favorite loses. Is that fair?
I could see that.
In other words, the one, Crater Rim is over 15. She just had so many chances, even though she's run races fast enough to give her a shot.
Okay, what about the 3? I know the horse over 10, but can she get maybe to the front end of this group?
She could. It depends how aggressive horses like Beans or Rice, the 10 Seattle Frost, both have speed in here. I can't imagine that Cape Cod Diva, even though she's coming out of longer races just of the speed, I can't imagine that Flavien Prat's going to be that far back. He's got to try to get her in the race. I mean, you don't want to try to come from last with a 4 to 5 overlaying the field or not, right?
Another little wrench thrown into your handicapping here with a little bit of soft turf today listed as good. Let's check in with Maggie for more.
And she definitely got on her toes a bit once the rider got up talking about number 5 in here. That's Cape Cod Diva. So I would think that she's not going to be too far out of it, as Andy was mentioning, hopefully at least. But want to talk about one of the 2 Dave Donk horses in here. Now I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that we do have a good turf course for Abby Normal, because at least in her one effort over a yielding course here at Belmont back in May, she definitely didn't handle it. But what's interesting is that She does have a decent effort here at Belmont on a firm course and at Aqueduct that could make her a viable option here. And physically, I thought she looked great. And I don't know what happened up at Saratoga, but what I can say is while some horses absolutely love it and relish Saratoga because of those cool mornings and evenings, and they can kind of relax, some horses absolutely hate it. You know, the stalls here at Belmont are a bit bigger. That allows horses to lay down, be a little bit more comfortable. Also, it's a little bit of a different surface. Some horses, Dave Donks primarily, train on the training track here at Belmont Park. They prefer that. It's less busy to get them more wound up. Granted, we've only been back here at Belmont 5 days or so. I'm not saying that it's going to make that big of a difference, but maybe Abby Normal's one that would just prefer here at Big Sandy. Greg?
Double-digit odds, 10-1, and you know, the lower this price, now finally the money coming in on the big favorite in here, and everyone's going with the 5. It's almost impossible not to, but as the price gets lower and lower, then you start to say from a value standpoint, is she worth taking a shot against?
Well, I don't want to take a shot against her, and I think, like you guys, I pressed her for most of my money.
Or play multis.
Yeah, I bet 8 out of every $9 I bet. No, I'm sorry. 7 out of every $9 I bet to pick 5. I bet on her.
Okay.
What I would try to do is bet an exacta, and I like the exacta with Crater Rim second. I would cement a 5-2 cold exacta, which is paying $11 for $1 right now, and that just seems like a very fair price.
Okay.
So that's my play.
Yours is 5-2. I'm 5-3.
I'm 5-8.
Okay.
So we're all complete.
I just think, I mean, the more I keep looking at it, I just don't know how the 5 loses. I really don't. I get it.
Okay, here's something that we'll throw out there. She doesn't have the speed to keep up with these early, and she gets in some traffic trouble coming from 7th or 8th. I'm just throwing out possibilities, not a particularly strong opinion on my part.
She wasn't
too far
possibly slow in that sprint back.
That was a very slow pace at 7 furlongs, and this is 6. I'm not saying, but are you going to be surprised when she's 7th early in this race?
So let me ask you this: does the 6 become interesting in any way?
I think the 3 and the 6 do, but like I said about the 6 comes out of that. That's a cheap race. That's a cheap race.
She's the quickest in here, right?
Yeah, she probably is moderately faster than Seattle Frost and Kathy's Cause. It depends. You know, so much seems to depend. I mean, I don't know if you guys disagree on just how these horses are ridden, right? Who's the one that decides they want to be aggressive? I mean, how many times have we seen that races around here?
3-5 on Cape Cod Diva.
Can't believe you're going away from your boy.
Who?
Lascano.
Seattle
3.
Frost.
You're giving the 3 no love, Wolfie.
I do love Jose Lascano. But this is a tall order trying to beat Cape Cod Diva here.
And the recent race for Kathy's Cause leave a lot to be desired.
Send it upstairs. Larry Colmus with the call. Second from Belmont Park. Cape Cod Diva, the one to beat.
Cape Cod Diva stepping up to the starting gate. Now goes in, and last in will be Seattle Frost. They're all in line. They're off. And it's Beans and Rice and Ms. Seb Pat out for the early lead together, and right behind them is Plimsoll Annie, who's sent along from the inside to challenge for the front. Then Seattle Frost. Cape Cod Diva sits back 5th early on here, 6 lengths off the lead. Kathy's Cause surrounded by Youth Gone Wild, and Aries Girl Sue's on the inside as Abby Normal goes up outside of them. Crater Rim trails the field. So they make their way for the far turn, where it is Plimsoll Annie, big long shot here at 99-1, who ran a 22.03 quarter, leading the way by 2 over Beans and Rice in second. Ms. Seb Pat follows in third, 5 lengths off the lead. Then Seattle Frost. Cape Cod Diva is 7 lengths behind at this stage of the race and saving all the ground. And then it's Abby Normal, followed by Youth Gone Wild. Plimsoll Annie's lead is shortening here as they come to the top of the stretch. Beans and Rice gets first run. Ms. Seb Pat comes up on their outside after a 45.83 half mile. And now Cape Cod Diva and Flavian Pratt begin to roll on the outside. And they make their move for the lead with 1 furlong to go. It is Cape Cod Diva in front. Ms. Seb Pat second now. On the outside comes Abby Normal, followed by Crater Rim, but it is Cape Cod Diva to win it by 2.5. It was Abby Normal second, tight third there between Ms. Seb Pat and Crater Rim.
Cape Cod Diva, Flavian Pratt Mark Hennig takes the early double, 5-9, I believe the 8 getting third here over the 2.
Flavien Prat keeps riding 3 to 5 shots here. He may stick around for a long time.
Yeah,
Gave the
right.
source, listen, I know she's a heavy favorite, but sometimes riding heavy favorites can be a bane of a jockey's existence because they say, I have to just not get in trouble. He got her close enough so she wasn't far, far back in the field, and he gave her that perfect trip angling out in the stretch ball.
Yeah, he's a good rider. He really is. A lot of people in Southern California, if you don't get to see him out here on the East Coast, he can flat out ride, and it's the reason why he's here to ride the big filly in the stake a little bit today at DISA, a little bit later today, but he put on his skills today. That was a good ride on the 3 to 5 shot because horse needed a little help. You're right, was not going to be home, and Andy hit the nail on the head, was not getting towards the front. Good run by Abby Normal, who scooped up second at 13-1.
Are you dissing San Huberto? He'll be on San Huberto as well in the Derby. You sure you didn't come to ride that one?
No.
We'll be back. 3 to 5 favorite gets the job done here in race 2. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus. Early double to trainer Mark Hennig.
Not since Danzig has a stallion seen this much early success. He's not just setting records, he's making history. The best started stud ever. Uncle Mo, the momentum continues.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Hip 621, a filly from the first crop of champion sprinter Run Happy, out of a stakes-winning half-sister to Chasing Bubbles, winner of the New York Stallion Series Stakes. This New York-bred filly will be offered by Woods Edge Farm at Keeneland, September.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, and short price favorite, Cape Cod Diva. First time dropping in for a claiming tag, and she wins convincingly here. Trainer Mark Hennig, daughter of Data Link, for Mashney Stable, and Flavien Prat aboard for the victory.
Yeah, congratulations. Like you were saying, Data Link out of a street cry mare, and that early double, $5.10. Ooh, you got a little bit more than that. $5.20.
You lied. No, 510.
No, 510. I was right. Yeah.
Productive early part of the card for the Mark Hennig barn. Let's go to the winner's circle with Maggie.
And here with longtime assistant for Mark Hennig, Saul Castellanos, as Mark, like many trainers, down at the Keeneland sale. But Saul, we were just talking, it's been 30 years you've been the assistant for Mark.
Yes, 30 years. I started in 89, yeah. Actually 89, but I was with Wayne, so 88, with winning colors with the Derby. That's the first time I met Mark Hennig.
And Mark stole you away from Wayne.
Actually, I followed him. Yeah, he didn't really sell me. I would work for somebody else like for a little period of time and come back to Mark. Yeah.
And also, now that's led to a nomination for the Thoroughbred Industry Employee Awards. You're a finalist. Congratulations. How excited are you?
Thank you. I'm really excited. Just to be nominated, I'm excited already. I feel like I'm winner already, with this. And this is really good for people back here in the backstretch, racing in general. People like Godolphin doing this for them and for us, actually. I'm concluding right now, and I'm really excited, nervous. I hope I'm doing well.
Don't be. You'll nail the interview. It's a good practice. But also sweeping the early double here on this Saturday card. 2 horses that looked very live. You have to be pleased with both their efforts.
Of course, especially right now with my bosses in Keeneland. So I feel like a lot of pressure on me. And now I'm released. I still got 2 more to go. But I'm really positive about it, and I'm happy.
Yeah, you have the JY and Carlino coming up later. The JY, interesting, cutting back to 7 furlongs. You like that distance for him?
Yes, I think that's a perfect distance for him.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to it. Saul, congratulations on your 2 wins today and that nomination.
Thank you so much. I'm already excited just to be there.
We're excited to see you there.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you.
You're very welcome. I was a part of nominating Saul. A very, very much deserved nomination for him. And those Godolphin Thoroughbred Industry Employee Awards, and truly a character on the backside. I love catching up with Saul, guys.
Wow, long time he's been with that Mark Hennig barn. And the JY, very interesting coming up in that 7th race. I think that horse has a big chance, and that kicks off the Naira Bet Slate Pick 5, by the way.
Yeah, it does. 7 furlongs on the turf. Holiday, the 4, going to be probably your heavy favorite. I think some people might take a shot and single.
You love cutbacks, Andy.
I think the Holiday's going to be very hard to beat in that race.
Okay.
I know I'm a chalky weasel.
Way to kill the
conversation. You guys didn't like Lawn Twist at all?
Yes, I was actually going to ask you, do you like Lawn Twist? Because I know you like Lawn Twist.
Lawn Twist is my backup.
I'm with Andy. I think Lawn Twist got a shot in there.
We need some help here in this early pick 5. Ooh, 530,000 in the pool. It has been chalk. I'm starting to hear the fingernails on the chalkboard.
And it's not going to get much easier here because the 1 and 2 are going to get played. Can you beat these 2 horses, Andy?
I have the 5 as a backup
So do
in
I.
my pick 5.
Yeah.
Well,
and a little 4.
So we need to talk about the 1 here. Data-driven. Was with Steve Asmussen, goes to Danny Gargan, now with Rudy Rodriguez. Now to nowhere, just runs a lights-out, huge performance. Can the horse, even if he regresses to a C race, does he still beat this field?
No. I don't know. I mean, the 2 Happy Farm is pretty good when he runs his races, and it's Jason Service as well. I mean, I don't know what you do with Data Driven. He's one of 2 horses that Danny Gargan took over for the first time in Saratoga that just ran dramatically better than they've ever run before. And Data Driven was a Chad Brown horse when he started his career for Karovich. He ran some okay races. They went to the turf, and he ran well in the dirt as well. I don't know how you can rely on him to run close to that last race. And the truth is, if he runs his prior races, is he really supposed to beat the 2 Happy Farm?
No, he's not. And Happy Farm, the other part about this is, it's been off since July 5th. This is the perfect kind of move for Jason Service. And when he claims one for 30, then he protected him last time. Now he's got him in for 40. You want him for 40? No one's going to take a horse from Jason Service for 40. And this is a horse that's gotten better under his care. So I'm with you, and also think the 5. Let's go out there. Orlando Noda has done wonders with T Loves a Fight, and this horse got 1 race in his barn, and I thought it was a legit excuse last time. Now it drops in for 40. I think that's the other horse in here.
No, I agree. I don't love Blue Belt as a horse, but Orlando Noda's horses have been very dangerous, so I think you have to use them somewhere. This is a lot of guessing about some horses that can run fast races.
Turf Tiara, 3rd and final leg of the Turf Triple Series for 3-year-old fillies. And of course, just Concrete Road. She was so sensational in those first 2 legs. She's been sidelined, gone to the bench for the rest of the year. So that opens this up for some new face to emerge. Mile and 3/8 in her turf. It will go as race 9 on the card this afternoon. And coming in from the West Coast for Richard Baltus, Lady Prancelot, who was just beat by Canberra Park in the Del Mar Oaks last start.
Yeah, this I believe is her winning at Santa Anita 2 back in the honeymoon.
Yeah.
I think she has gotten better with every start, to be fair. The mile and 3/8 is a real question. Just because she closes at the shorter distance doesn't mean she gets better long distance. And I watched her last race. I don't know about you guys. I felt like that race was falling apart at the end, and she kind of finished 3rd somewhat by default.
I'm with you. Listen, I have all the respect for Richard Baltus. I think he's a phenomenal horseman. I really do. But I play against the California horses. I'm just sorry. They do not run the horse out here a little bit better. Now, when you get to the Art of Almost for Roger Atfield, he's always dangerous. And I always, the horses that like Woodbine tend to like Belmont a tiny bit, Andy, because of the long stretch, the winding turns too, somewhat similar.
Well, what I like about her is that this is the best race she's ever run. She finished 3rd behind older horses, the talented Starship Jubilee.
Holy Helena,
Holy Helena as well. And it was 1.25 miles, the farthest race she's ever run. I think that's why Roger Atfield is optimistic that maybe she's a better horse at the longer distances. So she was the lone U.S. horse or North American-based horse, I should say, that I would be using.
And do you look at that, so coming out of that race against Holy Helena, you would have thought, wow, back in against 3-year-olds in the pucker up, that's the data better. Do you think maybe just better going longer?
I think the distance might be the factor. I mean, look at that mile and a quarter race. It looks the best race she ever ran.
Yeah.
She did have some trouble at the start last time out, which compromised her a bit, and maybe she could have finished second.
Meanwhile, Desert Ride for trainer Neil Howard, 3 for 4 lifetime on turf. The only defeat, a second-place performance coming off a victory in the Wonder Wear at Woodbine.
She's going to look at the field she's running against today, and hopefully nobody shows her a PPs and say, this is not the field I beat in the Wonder Wear. Neil Howard, here's this. His last stakes winner in New York, Mine Shaft.
Yeah. She disappointed in the Queen's Plate because a lot of times the Woodbine Oaks winner, she won the Woodbine Oaks on the synthetic. They usually run very well in the Queen's Plate, but she's tiny bit declined. I got to give her credit for winning the Wonder Wear with Stephen Bayhan aboard, but this is a whole different ballgame.
And, you know, everyone talking about a thread of blue for Kieran McLaughlin. How about Romantic Pursuit? She comes in having won back-to-back starts, including a victory at the distance of 1 mile 3/8, which will be run at today.
And I imagine they'll try to be aggressive with her and use the same tactics they're looking to use in the Belmont Derby, or the Jog Club Derby with thread of blue. Let me ask you a question, though. Do you want her out of this race more or Dynapasser more?
I want neither of them because, you know, like anything else.
I said more.
Yeah, right.
I didn't say which one are you betting?
When they're bunched up at the wire like that, it usually means an okay race. I'll give her credit. She was very, very good that day, but they are all going to have to step up and beat the inside filly, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Do you like Dynapasser better out of that race?
Yeah, I think more distant. You know, the distance. Dynapasser is a half to Sadler's Joy, so I keep waiting for her to get better with time and distance. So I would prefer her. I understand why Kieran's taking a shot. $750,000. Why not?
Comes in having won back-to-back starts. Here is Kieran on Romantic Pursuit.
Romantic Pursuit we're trying in the Oaks because of the distance and straight 3-year-old fillies. She ran against 3 and up last time and won going 1 mile 3/8. So it's going 1 mile 3/8 to straight 3-year-old fillies. It's a big step up, but she's doing really well, and we're happy to give her a try.
She's been remarkably consistent on turf. 2 wins, 2 seconds in her 4 turf efforts. Comes in having won back-to-back starts. But as you guys mentioned and Paul talked about earlier, Adisa is going to be a lot to handle potentially.
It just feels like the Europeans Love So Deep, Adisa, and even Wonderment just could have this field over a barrel.
They really could. I mean, Wonderment's was 20-1 in a Grade 1 and actually was a Grade 1 winner at age 2. So you can't take that at 1.25 miles at age 2. So you can't take that away from her. So like I said, I think the inside filly, the 1, and Andy's right, the 6. And let's not forget about the Japanese horse, Love So Deep, because they like running here for some reason. Japanese contingent, when they come here with a purpose.
Love So Deep's last race was terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she's run a lot of races, but she's getting better with every start. Love So Deep could easily win this race.
Yeah, you saw the graphic there, first 2 legs of that series. And let's just for a moment remember what Concrete Rose did, how great she was those first 2 legs of the series, and we hope to see her back. That should be the case next year.
No, she had a terrific year, and it's a shame. You know, it's tough when these horses get hurt, especially when they're doing as well as she did, but they did the right thing and give her some time, and hopefully she has a chance to come back next year, improve on her 3-year-old form, and be a factor in races like the Diana at Saratoga.
3rd race coming up at 6.5 furlongs, $40,000 claiming race. We can't have, you know, all the favorites aren't going to win. At some point, there's going to be an upset. We'll see what happens here. Data driven last time out, just freaked, and it was a race that just sort of came out of nowhere. 101 buyer speed figure, won by 13+ lengths at Saratoga, claimed off Danny Gargan, now with Rudy Rodriguez.
I remember watching it live, and your jaw dropped. Like, what was that? And it's not the only kind of performance. We said we saw first-time Danny Gargan with that huge performance. I think of course the Dave Canizzo won with Later to Meet, ran a couple more times. One, I think, closing day or closing weekend at Saratoga. This was, you watched that and you said, well, this horse could have run in a great stake and been competitive. But now in another person's barn, and as good as Rudy Rodriguez is, how can you reasonably expect this kind of performance from this horse?
I don't know. I mean, gosh, ridden to the wire by Manny Franco, you know, and dropped for 12.5 and got that performance. This horse had been in for 25. Actually, had been in 32 $1,000 non-winners of a year. My thing is never, ever even close to showing that kind of speed.
Yeah.
This horse was 6 1/4 lengths clear when they clipped the 6 furlong at 108. Could have went sub 108. Ridiculous.
That was for 12.5. Now jumping up to 40 Can he back it up? Let's get a paddock report. Go to Maggie Wolfendale.
By the looks of things here, yes, data-driven can back that up. Maybe he doesn't have to run the 101 that he did up at Saratoga in his last start, but he can drop down a little bit and still run his normal races and be very competitive here. And honestly, I do prefer him over Happy Farm here physically, but truth be told, I never really like Happy Farm in the paddock, so that'll put him right in the winner's circle. As data-driven, yes, he's been in the barns of several sharp outfits, and usually Danny Gargan is a guy I say you don't really want a horse being claimed off of him, but I say that about Rudy too, so it's kind of a lateral switch in a way, at least in my eyes, and he looks fantastic here. He's really well-muscled, great flesh, great coat to him, good energy as well, so I just prefer him here in the paddock. As we'll also take a look at a horse who's second off of a layoff in number 4, No Distortion. Now, he will take the weight off with Joey Martinez, and maybe lower profile connections will definitely help the price on this horse, but he's run well at some points in the past. He does probably prefer a little bit of moisture in the track, but last time he just didn't look all the way fit. Obviously, that's kind of how he ran as well. And today, he's a lot tighter. He's a lot more defined as well. And I just like him from an overall vantage point. His coat looks rich and hydrated. And I just thought that maybe he's one, like I said, at a bigger price that we could work in the exotics, maybe in that exacta, Greg.
No Distortion. Thank you, Maggie. 10-1 on the board for Bob Dunham. We'll have a post parade coming up here for the 3rd at Belmont. Can we get an upset after odds-on favorites take the first 2 races on the card? They're lurking out there somewhere. Stay with us. More coming up when we continue on America's Day at the Races.
We have 2 run-happy yearlings here at Mockmer Hall. We have a colt out of Addison Run in Book 2 and a filly out of Sugar Reef in Book 4. The colt is out of a young graded stakes producing unbridled song mare. The filly is a 10 mover, a great walker. They're good doers, they have great minds, they're easy, they're on themselves, etc. Really, really well put together.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're gonna go traveling.
Eclipse champion Blame was considered by many as the breakout stallion of 2018. His top runners included Grade 1 winner and Eclipse Award finalist Marley's Freedom, plus Grade 1 winner Fault, and graded stakes winners Morale, Beyond Blame, Miss Kentucky, and Blame. This year, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $700,000. Outstanding results, outstanding value. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. We have the 3rd race coming up, and Paulie had odds-on favorites in the first 2 legs here. This is a really interesting race because of what Data Driven did in that last start. We don't know what to expect here today off the claim now in the Rudy Rodriguez barn. This horse ran a race good enough to compete with some of the best sprinters in the country last start.
You're right. 7-year-old horse, too. Very rarely do you see at that age. They haven't been gelded yet, but obviously he's not an issue with his temperament at all. And 12.5 to 40,000 is a jump, but there's a lot of horses in here that have been in for a little bit less as well.
Here he is. He's 6 to 5. I mean, we probably should have seen him in a Vanderbilt instead of a 12-5 claimer with that last out effort.
Well, here's the deal. Like, what are you if you're Rudy Rodriguez? Somebody had to dip in. I had to be like a big shake for 12-5 because this horse has been running decent numbers for 25. We'll see what happens today.
7-time winner. He's 3 for 3 at the distance, 2 for 3 at Belmont. Here's Happy Farm. He's a legit contender. Jason Service, and maybe the one you can rely on a little more.
Yeah, 5-time winner here. 2 of the wins at Belmont. Does he go to the front end, or does he sit back and make one run? At 6.5 furlongs, that's going to be the question mark.
Blinkers going on, a horse coming in from the synthetics at Presque Isle, Storm Advisory.
Yeah, Mr. Palucci, never afraid of a challenge. This 7-year-old gelding is actually getting played at the window here. Probably his money, but, you know, if you look back, it's got some back class.
No Distortion, the 4. We'll see in a moment here. He's been first or second in 14 career starts in 38 tries.
Yeah, this one got claimed by Bob Dunham back in January, and it's thrown a couple decent races in. And last time at Saratoga wasn't a factor. Might run a little better here.
Dropping in class, too, at double-digit odds. 5-horse, Blue Belt. You talked about Orlando Noda. He is off to just a red-hot start as a trainer, including the tremendous work he's done with He Loves a Fight.
Yeah, this one, the lone New York bred in here. And, you know, usually Orlando's horses take back and make one run. It didn't work last time, so I'm wondering if he lets Blue Belt roll from the get-go.
Yeah, a horse who definitely has shown some speed in the past. And this horse is quick, as the name would suggest. Seed This Quick. 3-time winner from 20 tries, but maybe the one to run down.
Could be the one to run down. Been off since May, so probably sharp. Broke the maiden on a sloppy racetrack at a 9 1/4, then came back and won a 49-2 when him and Harkey aboard, and he will be aboard today.
Yeah, we saw him and Harkey, by the way, try and steal the last race on Plimsoll Annie.
Yeah, Plimsoll Annie. Emmons on there to go, and very capable jock, and that horse is not getting dismissed as you're looking at the 2. Happy Farm. And the last race that this son of Ghost Sapper was in was here at Belmont. It was a starter allowance. I get it. It was only a field of 5, 45 cents on the dollar. Supposed to win it, but the way he won it, Irad just sort of eased it back, but he broke very sharply. And I always felt he could have went to the front in this field. Wolfie decided to sit off and finish, and the race was over. I mean, it was workmanlike. He had to finish up.
That's the thing. He's versatile, so it's going to be interesting to see what Jose Lezcano does because he has the speed to go gate to wire if he wants. He proved in that race, obviously, he could sit, stalk, and still win. What does he do?
I think he stalks because when you look at this field, you have the 3 Storm Advisory, who is fast and is putting on blinkers. Blue Belt, I think, might go back to the old tactics of going to the front. And you mentioned the outside horse with the Bug Boy only carrying 116 pounds. I would think it's got to fire out to the front end. So maybe he sits behind and tries to get first run on your favorite, Data Driven.
Makes a really nice appearance on the racetrack here, Jason Service. With this horse 2 for 4 at Belmont. Of course, Maximum Security back in action for the Service barn. Eyeing that Penn Derby as we take a look at the 5. Blue Belt, who has shown very good speed in the past, but even when he has had the lead to himself, he's not closed the deal.
He hasn't closed the deal, and a lot in the same spot. 25,000 claimers facing somewhat of the same horses, and he actually got run down 3 starts ago by T Loves a Fight, and maybe that's why they reached in and grabbed this horse. Now the 6, See This Quick, Son of Discreet Cat, if you go back and look, got a 91 buyer at Aqueduct and took a field gate to wire.
Kind of an aqueduct specialist.
Yeah, it could be.
You see those aqueduct horses and they come here to Belmont and it doesn't always translate, does it?
Sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes you got to look at the fractions and take those with a grain of salt. 22 and 44 and 4 last time out at Belmont is about normal. If you look back, he's been going 46, 47 and getting to the front end at Aqueduct. But it's a little bit slower there, but he's not getting to the front end here.
1-3 in a row, and then that streak came to an end against Bon Raison, who we
Yeah.
saw win a stakes race with a monster number at Saratoga. Does drop in class. Let's go to Maggie for more.
He was also a late scratch the last time he showed up at the races, guys. Talking about number 6, See This Quick. On May 11th, they were trying to bring him back off of a short rest from that May 4th effort. He was a late scratch that day, and we have not seen him since. Can't say I loved him out on the racetrack either here today, but a horse that I did like more on the racetrack than what I did in the paddocks, number 2, Happy Farm, just to complicate measures a little bit more between the two favorites. And not that I didn't like number 1, Data Driven here, as he will be my pick as being a chalk-eating weasel today. But Happy Farm just moving really well, and a horse who acts very dull in the paddock, and his demeanor really comes to life when he gets out on the racetrack, as Jose Lascano took him away from the pony. So I think Happy Farm, he fits right there up against number 1, Data Driven, as we'll also take a look at number 3, Storm Advisory, who will go synthetic to the main track here for Anthony Cordarolo and Ron Palucci Racing. And his dirt races, some of them going back a ways, are arguably better than his last 2 efforts up at Presque Isle Downs. He'll have the blinkers today, and I really like the way he moved over this Belmont surface. I can't say he matches up quite as nicely physically with the 2 favorites, but still, I think he has a squeak in here, and those blinkers, just a shortcut, go on here today. So we'll see what Storm Advisory does. But guys, the more I watch and observe, the more I feel it's between the 2 inside runners. Greg.
Yeah, and I mean, look, past performances would suggest that. The board would suggest that. But it's just tough to trust the one-horse Data Driven with what he did last time out. Now, if he wasn't in this race, how short a price would Happy Farm be on his own? The 2.
Well, I would think you would be probably odds on in here because you could see him going to the front end or laying off too. So I don't know. It's a good question. I think the wild card, like we said, is the 5 Blue Belt. Does he come back to his speed? Like I said, the Nota Barn likes to take their horses back, and I think they tried that last time. I think today they're going to try to go to the front end, and that could be no trouble for some of these horses.
Is he fast enough to get in front of the 2 Happy Farm?
That's true.
One of the questions.
What about the 6, Andy? Is the 6 fast?
6 is potentially fast, Paul. It's a good point. I mean, this horse, when he was in good form, he was fast. Now, he hasn't run in 4 months since his last start.
What's fast at Aqueduct? What's smoking at 46?
They were never that fast, those paces, but he's not slow.
Yeah, okay.
And listen, Happy Farm is the fastest of these if they want to be aggressive with him. I think one of the reasons they rated him last time is there were 2 other significant speeds in there, whereas they may not have much speed, but I wouldn't be surprised if let's kind of let Blue Belt go if Junior Alvarado was aggressive on Blue Belt, but Junior Alvarado doesn't strike me as a super aggressive rider.
They're trying to change his style on Blue Belt, Wolfie?
I just, that company might have been too tough.
That's true too, yeah.
Well, yeah, he had no shot against those horses.
Yeah, those are good horses. And he's, he was in, he's the only New York bred in here too. That's a little bit against me. He's been running against New York breds in those 25 claimers.
I've never loved Blue Belt, but I guess he could win.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, Paul and I were just talking about this, Andy. Like, when he's shown speed too, it's not like he's been that effective finishing.
I agree.
Let me ask you about the 3. I know it's Mr. Palucci. I know it's Cordarolo, blinkers on. But if you look back, you see Recruiting Ready, Coal Front, Matoli. I get it. It hasn't shown much, but this horse does have some back class.
Oh, he has back class for sure. I mean, this horse who ran buyer figures in the high 90s. So he's got a top buyer of 103. But it feels like that form may be a bit gone. He may be the fastest Wagalia, son of Wagalia of all time, right?
PA bred.
He's great at stakes place. Look, they've tried him on synthetic the last couple. Sloppy track, wet fast track that maybe he didn't like, and they was getting his head beat in by some of the best runners in the country. So maybe today could be a different story. He's interesting at 8-1.
I guarantee Ron Palucci likes him.
It's his 3rd race in almost 30 days. So it'll be fit.
8-1, Storm Advisory, but 7-5 on Data Driven. Will he be anything close to what he was at Saratoga last start? Now in the barn of Rudy Rodriguez off the claim. We're about to find out. Let's send it upstairs. Larry Colmus with the call, 3rd from Belmont.
Blue Belt is moving into line. See this quick. We'll follow Blue Belt, who's backed off. And now steps forward and backs off once again. Even money currently on Data Driven, 8-5 on Happy Farm. As Blue Belt comes forward and goes in this time, and I'll see this quick will be the last one. They're all in line. They're off. And it's Happy Farm straight out to the front, along with Blue Belt, and See This Quick is away running in third. Behind them, Storm Advisory and Data Driven on the inside will be fifth early on. 3 lengths off the lead and clear of No Distortion, who is 7 lengths off the lead as they head up the backstretch. Happy Farm with some early company here from Blue Belt on the outside. The two of them together with Storm Advisory right next to Data Driven, 2 lengths off the lead through a 22.49 quarter. See This Quick is next on the far outside by another 4.5, and No Distortion is the trailer midway on the far turn. Happy Farm, the leader, scampers away to a 1.5 advantage now as Data Driven slips through on the inside and takes second, but 3 lengths behind as they round the far turn. And then See This Quick outside of Storm Advisory. Blue Belt has dropped back, and at the back it's No Distortion. 44.95 was the half, and they're into the stretch with Happy Farm, a 4-length leader here. Now it's 5 with a furlong to run. The others are full out. Data Driven trying to hold off long shot See This Quick, and No Distortion has made progress down on the inside and now is up into second. But it is all Happy Farm here just romping home. Jose Lezcano and Happy Farm cruising under the line, 7 in front of No Distortion. Then See This Quick and Data Driven.
This is just a few ticks off the track record for 6.5 furlongs.
So last time was Data Driven that ran 115 flat, and now it's Happy Farm.
Unreal.
That runs 115 flat. Who's going to run 115 flat next time?
Here's the thing, Blue Belt.
Paul?
Blue Belt put some pressure on him early. I mean, like, Junior Alvarado was intent in trying to get to the front end, and you were right. Jose Lezcano was sitting like a statue and was just not letting it happen.
And they went 44.95 of the half, and they came in the stretch, and he just like exploded off of that.
The 108.3, Andy, from that 45, man, he did go fast there late. And the one ran off the board. And this is just a perfect example. When you run your career best race, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and the one just got his heart ripped out by the 2 there early, yeah.
This, how many people do you think dipped in for this claim?
You know,
if
people
anyone
don't claim from Jason Service and moving up. I doubt it. The question is, did they claim data? I don't think they're going to claim Data Driven, who was claimed for 12.5 last time. Claimed for 40 in these situations.
And the thing about Data Driven, too, he's been in for 25, he's been in for 16, he's been in for 16. So, like,
he'll be in for again.
Exactly. Well, they're waiting for him to come back down for, like, 25 or 50.
But I don't know, a Happy Farm I thought would have been interesting, but
could be.
Jose Lezcano with a win. This horse run absolutely lights out. 3 for 5 now here at Belmont, picks up the 6th win of his career.
About the 2 Bug Boys running 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, actually, See This Quick ran fine, finishing 3rd in this race, because he was sort of attending the pace, and No Distortion, a nice ride by Joey Martinez coming up the fence to get second. I think the rail is showing signs of being the place to be. I mean, we saw a big favor win the first, Blaze Horse accelerated, and the way No Distortion came for second. On the other hand, he came for second, beating the city block.
Course records 114 and 2. Happy Farm goes 115 flat.
Wow. And it's just Jason Service, he's just so good. He claimed this horse for 30. This horse was a claiming machine, sort of like the one, been claimed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But then Jason finally protected him last time. Maybe that was the tip-off. Hey, I got the goods. Let's go for 40. And I think I'm with Andy. I think he stays in that barn, and then he's going somewhere for a little mini stakes, I would think, with his next start.
This was impressive. Happy Farm, back-to-back wins. Last was right here at Belmont. We didn't see him at Saratoga. Maybe we know why now.
Wasn't Happy Farm a Chevy Chase movie?
It was, actually.
Okay.
Wow. All
good
the
call.
top references. You're like on top of your game.
Marconi showed he loves a 1.5 miles. He loves Belmont as well, and he loves facing Rocketry. Can he do it to that horse again? We'll talk about it next.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
Feel my love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in Very One.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Test testing. 1-2. The Star Guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing. 1-2.
Feel my love for you coming on strong.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Back on America's Day at the Races, that is blazing fast. That's how fast Happy Farm just went in the third at Belmont, just a few ticks off the track record. And just to clarify, that is not the name of the Chevy Chase that you're thinking of. That was Funny Farm.
Good movie, though.
You should be sorry.
I apologize.
Got a lot of people.
Shame on you.
But this son of Ghost Zapper, the holy bull mare, gospel girl, I'll quit preaching. Florida bred, and Jose Lescano. Again, people forget he won the Belmont meet before we went to Saratoga, and he started off pretty good so far first couple days.
Did I just hear your voice over
I think I did. Paul was...
A couple of people fainted downstairs. I don't know if it was related.
Our show brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Fourth race coming up next. It'll be on the turf. Mile and a 16th. $40,000 maiden claiming event here. And Crypto Gold, Linda Rice, currently favored in this spot. And we have a first-timer for Chad Brown as well at 7-2, up above that 5-2 morning line, who they probably had higher expectations for, and now they're giving up on.
And his favored, there's a substantial favor the double. I mean, basically the double, this horse is going to be about 7-8-5. And you're talking about a horse that was purchased by Peter Brandt, owner Peter Brandt, over in the Tattersall sale, the same time that Digital Age was bought, Newspaper of Record was bought, and is debuting for $40,000 late in his 3-year-old year. Doesn't mean the horse won't win, and there are no killers in the air, but that's a bad sign.
Yeah, and the other part of this is they gelded him, and I think that's probably the reason why. He obviously had some issues. They needed to do something with him, and listen, it's Mr. Brandt. He has plenty of horses, and sometimes you got to cut your losses sometimes, and the fact that they had to geld him after being in that cell is telling me maybe, okay, 40's realistic. I wouldn't throw him out because the horse can win.
Later this afternoon, it is the Grand Prix American Jockey Club Invitational mile and a half in race 8. And once again, Marconi trying to take it to Rocketry. This will be their 6th meeting.
And he's gotten them each time? I mean, he's literally, poor Rocketry is just gotten beaten. And it seems like, you know, Rocketry's first 2 races on the dirt were dynamite. Since then, it just hasn't crossed that line. And Marconi got the best of him in the Brooklyn again. This time it was gate to wire fashion.
It was on the Super Gold rail, setting a crazy slow pace. And today, he's probably not going to be in front of Roaming Union. You can't imagine they're running Roaming Union here to rate him. I'll tell you, I like Realm out of this race. I think Realm ran the best of all. He was the widest over the course of the race for the most ground, covered 42 more feet than Marconi did. And that was the good rail, and I think that Realm came back and he backed that race up with a good effort in the Suburban the next time when he finished 4th. While racing outside another day, the rail was good. I think, for me, out of the 3 that ran here, I want Realm who finished 3rd.
You agree with that?
That's my top
I know you like Realm.
I told you I love Realm.
Boy, we're agreeing too much, Paul.
The problem with Realm is he's 1 for 13 at Belmont. That's his issue. He's got to get to the wire.
I'm just wondering if he's a horse that Barclay Tags now realizing should have been going long all along.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, You're to Blame is going to have the rail this afternoon for Todd Pletcher. Well, he ran in the Brooklyn against Marconi, against Rocketry, against Realm. He finished behind all of them.
He did, but he also was chasing a little bit off the rail. He didn't have a bad trip. He didn't run as well as Realm, but he was Realm. I thought this was an excellent effort in the race at Pimlico where he had some trouble on the turn. He was squeezed a little bit. Thought he ran fine. Now, he didn't run well in the alley dar, but he was sort of caught out of position the whole way last time. And I wonder if getting back the routes will help him. I'm going to back up with You're to Blame.
I thought he ran great this day. Tenfold got an amazing split. Ricardo Santana won that race for Tenfold. So I'm not arguing with You're to Blame. I think that's the horse on the outside of this group in here that can maybe beat these horses besides Realm, Marconi, and Robert G, the horses that we've seen running against each other. You're to Blame's the other horse in here.
How about Roaming Union trying to wire the field off the claim for Michelle Nevins? Is he just not good enough? Not good enough?
Well, you know, they've got a couple races to go to now, going a mile and a half. That's going to be the key. Can he get brave?
Yeah, I think Michelle's trying to take a shot if he wants to go long, and he's supposed to be in front.
Tried to do it in the Haskell as a 3-year-old.
This is not the Haskell.
Yeah, good point.
With all due respect.
Well, we're going to take a break in the action. When we come back, Kieran McLaughlin, he has quite a few races where he could probably have this conversation talking about what is his favorite race. He's going to talk about the Dubai World Cup and Invasor. Of course, Kieran spent 10 years in Dubai as a trainer. Came to the U.S. in 2003. 4 years later, his favorite race as he went back to Dubai.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include Cutting Humor, winner of the Grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, plus 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, and international star Shamal Nibras. This year, his 2-year-olds have brought prices up to $310,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
This filly is very well balanced. She's correct. She has a really athletic walk to her. Checks off a lot of boxes that I think a lot of people as breeders and as buyers look for. She's as nice a yearling as we've raised here in 20 years. She's just the total package for me.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Tom Durkin letting you know New York breds start with an advantage. At the sales, buyers pay up to 7 figures. And there's over $2 million in stakes money limited to New York sired horses in the New York Stallion Stakes Series, like the Park Avenue for 3-year-old fillies.
Newly minted wins it for fun.
For fun and money. The winner's share generates an additional $55,000 from the New York Breeding Fund.
Funny Guy's gonna do it.
Funny Guys winning the Times Square division generates the same money. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
My favorite race is the 2007 Dubai World Cup with Invasor because of the ownership and all the people involved with the horse. We got real nervous about 1 hour before the race when we forgot to bring silks. We didn't have any colors because in America the colors are in the jocks room, but over there each trainer brings them in each night for the races. So we were scrambling around for some colors an hour before the race.
Racing in the Dubai World Cup.
We broke well, and he was nice and clear on the outside, and everything's going well. He moves up and around the turn now, traveling great. He looks like he's doing fabulous. The jock on the inside just looked back, and I got a little nervous because he's going pretty well also, and we're second to him right now. And so I was a little nervous there for a few strides. And then he kicked on right here, and no one else was coming, only the horse on the inside.
Invasor, Premium Jack, they're having a battle. Invasor's is now going home the winner, and Invasor is too good.
It was just unbelievable to win this race, and my wife and kids were with me, so we were hugging and jumping up and down. And he was a great horse for us in every way. I never felt quite like this, but every time he got in the starting gate, I felt like he was going to win. He was just, he gave us so much confidence in what we were doing, and he was just a great horse. I think about him almost every day because he's a life-size picture of him in my Belmont office and what he meant to our stable and my family.
What a moment. What a horse Invasor was. 11 for 12 lifetime. Won just about everything he ever lined up in. It came to the U.S. He won the Pimlico Special, Suburban, Whitney, Breeders' Cup Classic over Bernardini.
Shame on him. His only loss was Discreet Cat.
Yeah, in the UAE Derby.
I mean, the horses he ran against. Wow.
Who was the other horse in that race? I think he was third in there, right?
He was fourth.
Think about who he beat. He beat Premium Tap multiple times. He beat Bernardini. Obviously, Bernardini, unfortunate winner of the Preakness. What happened with? It
was a monster.
What was the horse's name? Barbaro. Yeah. But yeah, Discreet Cat.
I would always regret that Bernardini was retired. I'd love to have seen him run as a 4-year-old.
But $7.8 million in earnings for Invasor.
That was a while ago,
for
too.
Kieran, too, who spent 10 years training in Dubai to win that race, had to be such a special moment for him.
And Kieran's about, for somebody in racing, and almost everybody in racing is very generous with their time, but nobody's more generous with their time than
No, really not. You're right. He'll sit down and talk to you all day.
Here's his runner coming up in race number 4 for Shadwell Stable, who debuted on a sloppy racetrack, sprinting back here at Belmont on May 12th.
Yeah, and got off to a slow start. And, you know, I would think this horse obviously has had some issues since then. And now, second start since May, thinking, okay, let's drop this horse for Shadwell. And there is Kieran. And, you know, you're getting 5-1 with Louis Saez. I would think this horse is going to show more speed dropping in class.
I took a shot and picked this horse, and that's his wife, Letty, of course. The 4, Monathan, I took a shot with Monathan in this race to try to wire the field. I just wanted to guess with somebody strange in here.
Could be a good sign his wife is here.
She's here a
Could
lot.
be.
She's here a lot. The kids were there in Saratoga last weekend.
I mean, you could have made a case he could have had Frosted on that list as his favorite race.
He's had some good horses. You can go back and look at a shocking number. There's a stake here tomorrow named the Allied Forces that's named for a horse that Kieran trained.
Yeah.
He didn't have a great Saratoga, but he won 3 stakes. He won the Bernard Baruch, he won with the Cullen, he won the Lure, and of course he won the Saratoga Derby as well. So he found the right 3 races to win.
And I think his other horse ran a sneaky good Travers, endorsed. I really do.
Well, 6-1 on Kieran's runner coming up in this race. Let's get more on this group. Head downstairs, get a paddock report from Maggie Wolfendale.
Kieran actually sending out 2 in here. And while one of the shorter price horses, Crypto Gold, he looks fantastic here for trainer Linda Rice. Finishing just behind him was number 7, On Esprit, in that maiden 65. Now, On Esprit kind of ran evenly, going the 1 1/8 last time out. And watching him, he's not the smoothest of action. He kind of more or less punches holes in the ground, if that's kind of a descriptive term. It's not that he gets over the ground, he kind of gets into the ground. I don't love that. And 2, he didn't switch leads off of his inside left lead. So he looks fine physically, but I'd actually prefer to take Kieran's other lightly raced horse, only making his 2nd start, number 4, Montatham here. And now he'll try the turf for the first time after doing not much running in that sloppy maiden special weight back in May here. Now he comes back, he looks fit, his coat looks resplendent here in the paddock, showing me good energy as well. Now there's some turf pedigree, being by Candy Ride, and 2, there was 1 sibling who won on the turf on the dam side. He has some slacker pasterns, but a very small foot. But that's very typical of the Candy Ride line. And so sometimes they actually don't mind it being a little bit on the softer side as far as the turf is concerned. So a good surface today, maybe it'll suit him. But he does look ready for his return to the races, as we'll check in with the first-time starter. That's number 5, Lahara, for Chad Brown. Training down at Monmouth. I have not been thrilled with the horses coming from Monmouth for Chad Brown. And this one isn't a Klarovich horse. This is a Peter Brandt horse. Whoa! That was unexpected. Double barreling at Javier Castellano. okay? Because he's been very quiet here in the paddock so far. But looking at him, well, physically fits the conditions quite well, going long on the turf as you expect with that pedigree. They did pay $342,000 for this horse at the Goff's yearling sale. Shows up for $40,000. Okay, he looks fairly fit. He's not a bad looking type overall. It just feels as though there's some more interesting options, and you're gonna take the worst of it as far as price is concerned because it is Chad. I'm not saying he can't win here, but I would prefer to see him a little bit more fit. I'd prefer to see a better coat on him. His coat's kind of churned because it's gotten a little bit cooler during the nights and mornings, and it just could look better. So I am being hypercritical, but we'll see how he does here at first asking, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you very much. 9 minutes away, 4th race coming up. Formful first 3 on the card to this point. We just saw a sensational effort from Happy Farm back in the 3rd. And that horse that just left our screen, What to Do with Lahara for the Chad Brown Barn and Peter Brandt. Making his debut.
You use, because it's just one of those things where you go, okay, I just got knocked out of all my exotics because I didn't use Chad Brown on the turf. And I get it. The horse is debuting for 40. He doesn't debut a lot of them for 40, but consider the connections. Peter Brandt, consider that this horse is a gelding now. I think this is a reasonable spot, and that's what makes Chad, I think a lot of people get upset about, you know, he wins a lot of races. He places him in the right spot, that's why.
Get signed up, play along with Naira Bets, $200 new member bonus when you use that promo code LIVE at sign up. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com or download the Naira Bets app. Horses making their way through the tunnel. And here we start with Highway Flyer. Phil Serpy, 15-1.
Yeah, this horse chased the pace last time, and it was a quick pace, but backed up readily and looked a little slow even on his best.
Azadine, 21-1 long shot. It was 0 for 18.
Yeah, and 0 for 16 on the turf. This one by Dan Silly, the favorite in here. Your first-time starter by Dan Silly as well.
Linda Rice, Dylan Davis team up with Crypto Gold, major contender.
Yeah, he is, and arguably ran his best race off the claim for Linda Rice. So we'll see. He'll need the pace to come apart a bit. He doesn't have much speed.
The Kieran McLaughlin runner, Montatham, son of Candy Ride, turf debut and stretches out.
Yeah, and I would think maybe the speed in here. Louis very, very aggressive. They might play Catch Me If You Can.
First-time starter and favored despite being in for a tag here, Lahara.
You see Chad Brown running first-time starters in maiden claim race in the turf so infrequently, it's hard to have a strong opinion, but it doesn't feel like a positive on a horse who's likely to be favored.
5-1 on Bold Gem. It's Leah Giamatti, Rajiv Mirage.
Well, this gelding's completely improved since getting on the turf, and the last 2 races have gotten a little bit better at 48-1 to 36-1. Not today, 5-1.
On a spree, another Kieran runner. Son of Speightstown, Junior Alvarado rides.
Another horse who could be relatively forwardly placed, and I don't think he ran that much worse than Crypto Gold last time.
And on the outside, 46-1, Bridge to the Future. 15 starts, has never hit the board.
Yeah, never hit the board. The one positive you can get, not a bad race getting made, special weight, at least going a distance to ground, but tough to get to.
So Linda Rice with Crypto Gold. There's a look at the son of Medaglia d'Oro. Ran for 65 maiden claiming last start. That was at Saratoga, July 21st. And hit the board in a 7-horse group. Still has a little work to do to get to that winner today, that day.
He's probably the most logical of the horses with experience outside like the 4 and 5, who are the fuzzies, a first-time starter and a first-time turfer. The problem I had, and I'm splitting hairs a bit, but you have to in handicapping, Paul, I don't like that this horse was claimed by $50,000 for Linda Rice, ran respectfully at $65,000. Now she's running for $40,000. That doesn't seem like a very confident move, but maybe I'm being a little bit too over-analytical.
Well, I guess.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. You said what you
said. Cross the wire first.
Got
DQ'd. And look who this horse was right there with in his debut.
Oh, yeah, Digital Age.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that was a good effort. Though Digital Age might have had the worst winning trip in the history of horse racing that day. But still.
Here's my thing. Linda owns the horse maybe, so aggressively can place this horse. The purse is $40,000. You win, you're going to get around 20-some-odd thousand and 40. So you basically get out on the claim. But are any of these colts or geldings really going to get claimed for $40,000 going long on the turf? you really don't make much money going long on the turf with these type of horses. So I think they're pretty much all safe. Usually you'll get a horse that's on the dirt that will get claimed to go to turf. Very rarely you get a horse that's running on turf that somebody will claim and go, oh, let's try this horse on dirt. So I think it's just being aggressively placing the horse. Well, will you claim a horse on turf to be a dirt runner? People claim horses on dirt to be turf runners.
I wasn't
you
contradicting you at all.
You looked at me a little funny, like Funny Farm, okay?
I'm not going to
Paul's on
interrupt
edge
you guys.
a little bit today. It's the weekend. He's fired up for the Now We're Bet's late pick 5.
Those empanadas got things going for
Yeah,
them.
still coming up later
by the
today. We
way.
have some food trucks here today, yeah.
Get
Andy
out
was
here
kind
if
enough
you're-
to bring us some
Those were
food as
good.
we look at Bold Gem, Leah Giramati, 5-1. That did hit the spot, Andy. Thank you.
Those were good. Yeah.
Third off about a 6-month layoff for this runner, and
Why don't
coming
you like
off the
Andy?
best performance yet of his career.
Yeah, Paul likes one more than I do. Here's my problem. Listen, I'm not saying he can't win. I'm not going to get strong position honor against anybody here. But his last race, I think, dresses him up because it's an extremely fast pace, especially for that kind of quality. And the race was falling apart. And I just thought Rajiv gave this horse a sensational trip. He was basically on the rail the whole way. And he just cut the corner when they came in the stretch and just picked up lengths on the field in doing so. And I just feel like it looks on paper like he ran well, but I just thought it was more a function of trip than his overall performance.
Yeah, I thought it was a good race. I thought it was a lot better than the other race. Just a better horse on the turf. Seattle Slew Mare. Slew Smarts. Wow.
See many of them.
You don't see many of them, is right.
With more on Bold Gem, let's check in with Maggie.
Talk about a horse who is sharp. That is Bold Gem here. As we've seen him get a little bit hot, that was the presence he had in the paddock too. Look, I thought last time he was very relaxed and it paid off well. He ran the best race of his career. Today, he's back to his kind of nervous, rambunctious self, so therefore, I'm not convinced that he's going to run the best race of his career again, or build on that, I should say, from that last effort. So I don't know what to really make of this horse. Physically, I like him. And two, he's third off of a layoff. A lot of times we will see horses fire their best shot in that type of scenario in the form cycle, but I just don't like this behavior that much with him because I've seen him get like this, and it usually doesn't work out in his best interest. So we'll see. It's just something I observed here, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. 5-1. Rajiv, he was on for each of those last two tries.
You know, when you look at the 5, Lahara, it occurs to me, I think we've only seen one, 2 years ago, both Peter Brandt and Klarovich, they bought, Chad Brown went to Tattersall, but horse for him, obviously, to Marchlier had done well for Peter Brandt and also Blowout, but Klarovich had much more success with newspaper record, digital age, value proposition, and good governance, who we saw finish second the other day. We only saw one 2-year-old from them so far. One ran Saratoga was placed first in that controversial DQ involving Chris Stahl, yeah. We really haven't seen these runners. Now, this was one that was bought in the first crop, and obviously this is one that really hasn't panned out to see a Dancilli. And I think this was a second to last crop of Dancilli. I could be wrong, but I think it was. You're running for $40,000. Bad sign, and right now just went from 2-1 to 5-2. Doesn't feel like there's some word that this horse is good. But on the other hand, for a Chad Brown runner, he may say, well, he's not very good, but relative to a lot of the runners in that barn, not
high
very
expectations
good,
for that barn,
crush a field like this, right?
And no one, and look, those that have run, not really asserted themselves, but again, nothing like experience. And if the barn's not that high on this one, but yeah, again, they just may not fit their program because they have expectations of running in graded stakes races and winning those races.
Again, like I say, you're right. This horse is a horse that was at Saratoga in July, and let's be honest, there's got to be a first, second, third string for Chad, and
fourth, fifth,
yeah,
sixth.
And listen, she didn't cut it. He didn't cut it, and he went over to Mama, started working there. There's not enough stalls for him at Saratoga, and he's debuting. But like I said, this is still $40,000. This isn't crazy. He's debuting at a reasonable price.
Yeah, and what's funny also about this race, the board has not changed at all. I mean, having these horses, basically the 5 horses that are taking any money, been pretty much the same price the whole way. It's like nobody's sticking out. And I do get back. I agree with Lahara. I think, and Maggie touched on it too. they're not all going to be stakes horses, and you've got a lot of horses, and you've got to take your losses sometimes. And clearly, this is one that didn't pan out. Others have. But you know, when you buy a bunch of yearlings, some of them aren't going to be able to run at all. And that's the nature of the game.
The other part about this is he might tell Peter Brandt, let's debut for 40. Nobody will take the horse. Then we have a starter allowance, and we can win 2 races in a row and get a little bit of your money back.
Well, that's the gamble. You're absolutely right. You tell an owner, you're 100% right, Paul. You say somebody may take him, but it's not as big a claiming frenzy in Belmont as it is in Saratoga. And if we get away with it, we can win that starter allowance. It's a very good point.
So 2-1 favorite. It will be Crypto Gold for Linda Rice, vying for favoritism, but that one is the favorite right now over the Chad Brown first-time starter. There's a look at On a Spree, same trainer owner. It's a horse who wired the field in the Saratoga Derby and will try to do so again later today. A Thread of Blue in the Jockey Club Derby coming up in race 10.
Yeah, those should be fun. Looking forward to that.
Inside post, perfectly drawn to try and pull off theft again. Send it upstairs. Larry Colmus with the call, 4th from Belmont.
Here's Bridge to the Future. Stepping up to the outside stall, going in, and they're all in line. They're off. Crypto Gold started near the rear of the field as Azadine goes out to the front with Highway Flyer, and Montatham is away running in 3rd to their outside. Bold Gem is 4th and down toward the hedge, hooking up with the backstretch. On a Spree is next to him. And then comes Lahara, who's back about 7 lengths off the lead early on. Bridge to the Future next, and Crypto Gold has 9 lengths to make up. So up the backstretch they go with Azadine, a long shot leader here. Opening quarter mile up the backstretch, posted up there in 26.62 seconds. Highway Flyer is 3 lengths behind, running in 2nd by 2.5. Montatham is 3rd, Bold Gem 4th by 2. And then it's On a Spree on the outside of Lahara, who is 9 lengths off of front-running Azadine. Then an unhurried Crypto Gold, and last of them all is Bridge to the Future. So the field races for the far turn. Azadine continues to lead the way. The half was up in 49.01, and it's a 5-length lead as they make their way around the turn. Highway Flyer, Montatham heads apart 2nd and 3rd. On a Spree, 4th and moving on the outside. Then Bold Gem. Lahara still about 8 lengths behind this long shot leader. And now Crypto Gold being roused at the back by Dylan Davis. And far behind is Bridge to the Future. It is still 44-1 shot Azadine on top as they make their way to the top of the stretch. But Azadine's about to be swallowed up by Lahara, who's made a rush on the outside and goes on by. Montatham takes 2nd, Bold Gem 3rd, then Crypto Gold on the far outside. Lahara and Javier Castellano, and they're running up the score. This first-time starter, Lahara, just dominates his competition here. Under the wire, in hand by 8 over Bold Gem, Montatham, and Crypto Gold.
Lahara by 8, wheel him back in the Belmont Derby.
They better hope this one didn't get claimed the way he ran today. I mean, wow. You know, and keep in mind, by the way, for people wondering, the first quarter was obviously inaccurate here. They didn't go 26. And they are kicking up a little bit, so there is a little bit of give in the ground out there. What did he beat the field by 8 lengths, like Larry said?
He crushed this field, and his ears were straight up. When he made the move, I looked at Wolfield like, oh my God, the 5's a runner.
Yeah, you know, in the backstretch he was going to win.
You knew he was, and he was just guiding him along. And I guess the last words I said were the right one. Let's get this one in for 40 in the starter allowance, because he's also going to win the starter allowance by about this far when he runs next time.
And to
not claimed.
Not claimed.
Wow, really?
There's a lot
Get
of people
away with
going,
one here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like
they
I
can
said.
fool you sometimes, right?
No, listen, they can fool you. And here's the other part. I was telling this to Andy. Chad wins more with horses like this where you think, oh, let's play against. Or a horse that's 8-1, 10-1, that's ignored at the board. His horse is on the turf course. You just can't leave out. And like I said, why do you want to go home and say, you know what? I left out a Chad Brown horse on the turf, a first-time starter that just won by 12 lengths, and is going to come back and win a starter allowance by about 15.
This is just got to be so disheartening if you're anyone else on the grounds here. This horse was not good enough to stay in Chad Brown's barn.
This is weird. I mean, as you say, Paul, they could win a starter with him and then win a non-winners of one with him.
But here's my point is, like, okay, bricks and mortar, 7-1 first time out. I don't think
Well,
he was a kind of
analyze it.
he was a
13
kind
to
of
1.
horse that Chad thought was great in the morning. His horses perform better in the afternoon sometimes than they do in the morning, and I get it. This horse might not have been showing flashes in the morning or anything, but when race time came today, I don't care if this was a maiden 40, 65, or maiden special weight. She was crushing, or he was crushing somebody today.
What a performance!
Jeez. This horse inhaled this field in a
Within
matter
seconds.
of strides.
Yeah. And there was a couple horses in here. If you looked, Crypto Gold had a 73 buyer. The outside horse had a couple decent buyers. The 7 on a spree.
Never run before in the afternoon, giving up experience to everyone. There's some horses who had some okay efforts.
Bull Gem ran probably to his effort.
This feels like a mid to high 80s buyer.
Yeah, and Bull Gem probably ran a 75 again, somewhere in there, 73.
Yeah. I mean, this was, wow.
Yeah, 142 on a turf course that's listed as good.
If it was a maiden special weight, we'd be talking about this as a potential stakes horse for Chad Brown, wouldn't we?
I would think so.
It's going to be very interesting to see where we see this one next. Lahara in for a claiming tag on debut, inhales this field and wins by 8 lengths or more at first asking, and did not get claimed. We'll be back with the prices, set up the 5th when we come back on America's Day at the Races.
What I love about our Run Happy yearling is he has this unbelievable mind and he's got terrific presence. He's a very athletic horse, moves very well, easily, naturally. Another reason we're very excited about this colt is that his sister Indian Pride actually just won at Saratoga, broke a maiden by about 10 lengths. To have an active family like that with a colt with his presence it's awfully exciting for us.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Flatter. This prolific son of A.P. Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. This year, he's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. In the auction ring, his yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, and Lahara, first time out for the Chad Brown barn. Peter Brandt owns. In for a maiden claiming tag and runs like a horse with a serious future.
I think there were 2 sighs of relief. 1, when he won that impressively, and 2, when they found out he wasn't claimed.
I'm with you. This was impressive. A gelding by Dan Silly out of a Sinksville mare, Pacific Rim. It hasn't been hard, but the prices have gotten higher, Wolfie. We're on.
Look, we're watching
a little bit.
We're watching a replay on the feed at Naira. This horse inhales the field in a matter of strides, under no asking at all. And watch, if you know, they're kicking up the turf course, so this is not a firm course.
Yeah.
This is some performance.
5th at Belmont at 6.5 furlongs. It's a maiden special weight. And look who has a first-time starter. Chad Brown with Democratic values, 2-1 on the board right now.
Yeah, Son of Honor code. They paid $475,000 at Keeneland September 2018 sale, but the money going to the outside horse, reportedly working a tiny bit better in the morning. We've seen a couple of these Liam's Maps win already. First-time starter for Todd Pletcher, and Johnny V will debut at Lasix.
Yeah, I mean, that one was slightly shorter in the multi-race bets. Now, I've heard that Democratic values is a runner.
Yeah.
And I think he's been working with a Chad Brown, another Chad Brown horse. He's been outworking him somewhat easily.
Some other ways to go in this race, not just about the 2 first-time starters from the Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher barns. It's been a pretty good meet, too. We talked about the barns that had really good Saratogas. You could put John Kimmel in the mix there as well. He had Cristal, who was DQ'd at 41-1. First time out of the mile and 16th turf race, that controversial disqualification and then would come back and win the P.G. Johnson.
I was so glad he came back and won this
I was
race
too,
for John
actually.
Kimmel. It just seemed like a tough DQ. I mean, whether you agree with it or not, it's irrelevant. He was best the day he was DQ. And I remember talking to John after it and saying, I hope that you come back and run this horse in the P.G. Johnson. You finished first in the race, do what you were going to do. And the fact that it worked out was nice. And this horse kicked it in late after getting left, Paul.
Yeah, tiny bit quirky, right? He got left, but Joel did such a great job. He's so strong to get her outside and finish. And the public didn't buy her DQ. Sometimes at 41-1 when you get DQ, they don't come back and play her. She went off as the favorite.
She was 41-1 on the board, but 3-5 on Twitter.
Yeah.
John Kimmel told us in an interview with Maggie, Famished was out working Crystal in the mornings, and word got out, went off as the even money favorite and won second time out at Saratoga.
Yeah, the horse has run okay in his debut, and I thought he ran okay here. It was a little overshadowed because that Jeremiah Engelhardt horse, Street Techniques, ran a faster race subsequently, but this one's got some promise. I mean, you win early at Saratoga, you've got to be okay to win those maiden special weight races.
Another one with Joel Rosario. Look, this horse wants to lug in, but he's just so strong, gets them to straighten out, and then takes off. I like the way this horse leveled out late here. And again, Joel, just one of the best finishers in the game.
Same connections. Toby Morton and the Kimmel Barn sending out Unprecedented. Coming up here in the fifth, the 3-horse, Luis Saez will be aboard, 8-1. Ran against American Butterfly in that debut, who would line up in the Hopeful.
Well, you know he's got some speed here, and that's certainly not going to hurt him, and experience is going to help. We'll see. I mean, obviously, of the ones that ran, I think Hemlock's the one that will take the most money, the horse in the rail. And it's not that far, bigger price in the multi-race bets.
No, it's not. I mean, the horse that runs second in that race, Irish Mias, came back and disappointed. So I think a lot of people are looking at that maybe a tiny bit. But
the winner won a turf, on the turf, but won a stake race impressively.
Yeah,
the winner's okay for Gary Contessa.
Much more on this field coming up. It is the fifth from Belmont, maiden special weight at 6.5 furlongs. We're going to take a break. When we return, he's chasing the all-time record. John Velasquez, the Hall of Famer, one graded stakes win away from equaling Jerry Bailey's all-time record. A lot more on John Velasquez when we come back.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
He's got a lot of the physical traits that Run Happy stamping his foals with. He's a big horse. He's very well balanced, and he looks precocious and fast.
He's got lots of bone, very correct, and a big walk, and very smart head to him. He's very intelligent colt. Temperament as well. My horse has a beautiful temperament. He lies down in the stall every day, and just a cool horse to be around.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Not since Danzig has a stallion seen this much early success. He's not just setting records, he's making history. The best started stud ever. Uncle Mo, the momentum continues.
I am John Velasquez. I am a professional jockey. I first knew when I wanted to be a jockey when I was around 7 years old. I definitely grew up around horses, loved the horses, loved riding the horses, loved to be around them. By the age of 14, I met a jockey, Julio Garcia in Puerto Rico. and that was my introduction to horse racing. I remember when I won my first Grade 1 here at Belmont Park on a horse called Turk Passer. It was an incredible race. It was a really soggy track. It was right on the grass and one of those rainy days.
Turk Passer! Yes! He goes forward to wire! A cagey ride there by John Velasquez.
Just passing the wire first and getting that Grade 1 away from it, it was incredible to get it done. For a person like me, having such a successful career and not winning the Derby was definitely missing. So it was one of those races that it was missing for a long time, chasing it for 13 years.
But it's Animal Kingdom and John Velasquez to win the Derby!
To get it over with, it's definitely, it feels a big relief. What I love about horses is everything. Obviously, you have to love the horse first, and the racing is after. Being around the horses, being a companion, being surrounded, everything about the horses. They learn to do anything, just basically like people. It's just a pleasure to be around the horses.
V for victory, no question. John Velasquez, all-time winningest rider in the history of Saratoga, now closing in on the graded stakes record. One away from equaling Jerry Bailey. He has done it all in his career.
He really has. And the one thing about Johnny V that's always made him the best, people will be like, is he a great finisher? Yeah, he is. Does he have great hands? Yes. I would call him the five-tool guy. So we talk about Rosario. Rosario, great on the front end. Our colleague, Richard Migliori, great on the front end. Rosario, great finisher. Johnny V can do it all, and I think he's won so many races because to me, in my lifetime, I'm 47 now. I've been watching races for about 35 to 40 years, somewhere in that area, depending what time my dad was sneaking me to the racetrack. Every time I look at a racing form and I see a John Velasquez horse, I feel like that horse is sitting in the right spot each time. And I think that's why he's won so many races. He's always in the right position to give his horse the best chance to win.
No question. And he will be on a first-time starter here on the outside who's been working extremely strong for the debut. As we take a look at the Chad Brown first-time starter, Javier Castellano will ride here, the son of Honor Code, who's at 5-2 on the board, second choice.
Yeah, second choice right now, and a horse has been working well in the morning for Chad, and there is Johnny, and he'll be aboard the favorite right now, and slightly your favorite, the Liam's Map colt on the outside for Todd Pletcher. And the crazy part is, little birdie told us that Chad Brown was actually the underbidder on the 7, almost had the 7, and now they're going to run against each other, the 4 and the 7.
Paddock Report coming up. Let's head downstairs and go to Maggie Wolfendale.
And we'll check in with a horse who has some experience. That is number 1 down on the rail, Hemlock, for trainer Bill Mott. Now, maybe Bill kind of showing his hand a little bit as far as what he was thinking about this horse, as he did put him in as an MTO first time out. The race did come off, and he took a lot of money that day. I liked him, but I just didn't feel as though he was totally fit for that debut. And he is considerably much more tucked up this time around. Still, the bad behavior continues. I jinxed him, of course. I'd written down much more professional, and then when they started to saddle him, he came undone a little bit, but it was because of Prince of Caps acting up a bit next to him to start the whole thing off. But maybe we'll see a horse that does display a bit more fitness. He certainly looks like a dirt sprinter, so I would foresee him being forwardly placed here once again. Now on to the first-time starters, 2 of which taking a lot of money, as we'll take a look at Democratic Values. This one, a son of Honor Code, the dam a half to Revolutionary, and the second dam a multiple graded stakes winner. And while this race is 6.5 furlongs, and he could be talented enough to win at that distance, he eventually, in my perspective, will want more ground, and he looks a lot like Revolutionary, honestly. He very much is that typical kind of dam side, at least presence and physicality here. He's fit, he's professional. The one thing I can say is that he has this beautiful front end. He's scopy, he's very strong up front, but the hind end hasn't really caught up quite yet. He still has some developing back there to do. As you can see, he's very, very long. So that's the indication I have that he'll eventually want to go a bit further than this. But I like him, and I like his workout. He's a really good mover. He was working with a horse who I believe is unraced, at least going back to the August 25th workout, which you can watch on XBTV. And I appreciate it. He was going better than that horse down on the inside. So I like him. But I also like Todd's horse in here. That's number 7, Alpha 66. If anything, this guy maybe looks a little bit more like a horse who can handle the 6.5 furlongs, a horse that would probably want more ground, but is kind of versatile and athletic enough to deal with that. And 2, we know who he was working with, and I'm going back a ways as far as his workouts are concerned, but boy, does he have 3 nice ones thereafter. But he was with Freewheeler August 11th, which Freewheeler, granted on the turf, came back and crushed a field of maiden special weights, going 5.5 on the turf. And this horse crushed Freewheeler in that workout. I mean, with a huge gallop out as well. This horse just looks solid. He's a little bit more developed overall than the aforementioned Democratic Values. I don't love that he's wearing blinkers, but he has worn them throughout those workouts. So he's been professional here, and he just looks really fit and really strong. Now, number 6 is Sagamore Mischief. He does have a bit of pedigree. Love the Into Mischief, as we've seen. Also, the Dam was a multiple stakes winning dirt sprinter. He's Have to Burn Identity, as well, who was a good sprinter, and Battle of Evermore, who was a bit better going longer. But this guy looks like a true sprinter. Really nicely developed hindquarters, kind of stocky and robust, well muscled. I like this horse. He's going to be a big price in here, maybe possibly because of the lower profile connections, but he looks ready, and he does look quick, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. 13-1 on Sagamore Mischief. Riders up. Dylan Davis getting a leg up aboard this runner, but a lot of positive praise for Alpha 66, the outside runner, 8-5 on the board. Been out working some pretty good ones.
Yeah, and the problem for the Todd Pletcher 2-year-olds in the past have been that they've not been breaking from the gate that well. But reportedly in the morning, this horse has got 2 gate drills that have been very good and been breaking from the gate, according to Mike Welsh's workout report. So that's going to be the key. We always talk about horse breaking from the rail could be detriment. So can the outside, because they break to open space, as Gary and Richard McGlory will tell us. But the 7 is taking a little bit more money than the Chad Brown runner.
No, he is. He's getting bet very strongly. Maggie brought up the fact he's been working in blinkers, and I had heard the same thing. We'll see if that proves to be a negative. I don't have an answer to that, but Democratic Value is supposed to be a runner. Obviously, Alpha 66 as well.
Might be a good thing being drawn outside to have that equipment on.
I guess. What do you do with the 1 Hemlock?
I got to think if either or both of the 4 and 7 deliver to the hype, they're going to beat Hemlock.
Yeah,
Hemlock was overbet last time. Another Miracle probably should have been favored in there. I know he got it off the also eligibles and off the turf race. I think he was the only MTO in that race. I just think, and it was a fast race, and the winner's okay, but the likelihood that he's better than both Democratic Values and Alpha 66 seems slight to me.
Next Saturday, win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup. We're going to have a live here on the show with coverage of the Woodbine Mile. So we hope you join us next weekend.
One of my favorite races of the year. Great race. Great race.
That happens next Saturday. Here comes our post parade for the 5th year. Hemlock went first time out against another Miracle who'd come back and win the Skidmore on turf at Saratoga.
Yeah, and as Paul mentioned, the second place finisher not too well on dirt in a subsequent start. Mixed feelings. He didn't run badly, though, in his debut.
Prince of Caps went against Gozilla, part of that trio of runners that lined up in the hopeful for Steve Asmussen.
Gozilla was a tiny bit, obviously, disappointing in the hopeful, but this horse actually ran a bang-up race first time out. 13-1's not a bad price.
Yeah, had to drop way back in that effort and did start making up a little bit of ground, too, in that first out performance. Unprecedented. Here's the John Kimmel runner. Went against American Butterfly. Showed speed at Saratoga in that debut.
Figures to have some speed in this race. We'll see, though. We'll have to improve in all likelihood against these firsters.
5-2 on Democratic Values. The first-time starter for Chad Brown and Klarovich Stables, your leading owners at the Saratoga meet.
They paid $475,000 for the Son of Honor code and should be well prepared.
King of American, Randy Prasad gets Lasix, gets in light as well with a bug rider.
Looks in a little tough here.
And was in one of those restricted maiden races at Saratoga. And
this one is not.
Yeah, no. Sagamore Mischief, Timothy Hills, Dylan Davis.
Timothy Hills is a sneaky, very good trainer. 15% first time out. I know this horse could be
Big pad.
up against it. But I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't be surprised if this colt runs okay.
And the one who's been working like he's something special in the morning, Alpha 66 for Todd Pletcher, Paul Pompa Jr.
Looking for those Liam's maps, waiting for a good Liam's map, as he was such a tremendous racehorse for Todd Pletcher and taking a lot of money in the face of a touted Chad Brown first-time starter. Kind of an interesting battle within the battle.
So that's your field here as we approach the 5-minute mark to post. Horses just kind of passing us by here.
Giving a nice workout to the number 4 horse, Democratic Values, kind of left, as Richie likes to say, left the pony.
Yeah. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Please be standing here with trainer John Kimmel as he'll send out number 3, Unprecedented, in here. A second-time starter. I think, John, experience always counts for something in these 2-year-old races.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. It's 6.5. It's not the easiest distance to start out with, and I really don't drill them so that they're, so fit that that you're going to get every last drop out of them. I like to take these horses and give them a good experience first time, tell them not to beat them up, and I think they recover faster, and I'm kind of looking forward to this horse running back today because I think he's moved forward off his first race.
We're getting a good price on him as well, as he does look ultra fit.
I see that. I think he's fit and he's doing very well. He's a very sound horse and he's got some speed. Looks like the track might be pretty good for speed today.
Absolutely. Well, we also saw an impressive winner up at Saratoga in the P.G. Johnson and Cristal. Next target would be the Miss Grillo. Will we see her there?
Well, that's the plan right now. She vindicated herself after that unpopular disqualification, but yeah, she's on target for that. We'll probably give her a little breather, maybe a little more than 14, 16 days. She'll come back, work maybe on the turf course next Saturday, and she'll get one more breeze and onward and forward.
Now, she's owned by Toby Morton and husband Mike, as you had a lot of success for them up at Saratoga, but it's been a much longer relationship than that. Talk about that with them.
The Mortons got involved in one of my racing partnerships probably 5-6 years ago, and it's funny because back then he said, I just don't know how much I want to get involved with. And he was very involved in the standardbred industry years and years ago. He said he had 20, 25 horses, so he's kind of surpassed that at this stage in the thoroughbred business between the mares, the babies, and the racing horses right now. And I think he's got a stellar group of 2-year-olds. He's got another Uncle Mo. He's got Famish pointing towards either the Champagne or the race down in Keeneland. He's a Canadian bred. We've got a nice American Pharaoh colt that I'm very excited about. He's a half-brother to Amma Chatterbox, and he's about 2 weeks away from running. And we've got another Uncle Mo that looks like he's promising as well as a nice quality road filly that's up to a half a mile. So he's got some ammunition still.
I'd say looking forward to all of those, John, as well as the horses that have already proven themselves in Cristal and Famish. But best of luck here with Unprecedented.
All right, thanks so much.
Did you guys get all those tips that John just laid out there for us?
How does she get so much good information out of John Kimmel every time?
He just gave us like 7 different horses. I was lost.
Good thing I'm recording the show.
Yeah, right?
I go back and write all those down.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember last time we got that good information on Famished?
Yeah, that's true.
And it equaled a win?
Yeah, it did.
What do you think about Unprecedented here?
Well, I mean, going to show speed, right? I would think. I mean, has to show some speed to win this race. Showed speed first time against a good group. You don't know what you're really going to get from the 4 and the 7.
Isn't Hemlock going to have speed in
Yeah,
this race?
yeah.
The way Todd's horse is getting better. Unprecedented, second-time stars improve. This horse better improve a ton, in all likelihood. It's hard to believe that between Democratic Values and Alpha 66 that nobody here can run. I mean, it's just hard to believe that neither of these horses is a stakes quality runner. And I don't think Unprecedented is based on what we saw in his debut.
The one thing you put in his corner, he debuted at this distance, so he's got that on the rest.
I'm not willing to write him off that one performance.
I'm not writing him off. I'm just saying this maiden special has the potential to be one of the stronger ones in the meet. You've got a Todd Pletcher at 6-5. You've got a Chad Brown that's been working very well, that's rising price, but has been working well. I'm going to be very surprised if neither one of those horses ends up being a stakes quality runner. And I think for Unprecedented to improve as much, because frankly, doesn't he have to improve a lot to beat Hemlock? The one? Didn't Hemlock run better than he did in his debut? I thought.
You didn't love that effort from Hemlock.
I didn't love the effort because it wasn't a good field. It was an off-the-turf event. Now, the winner, Another Miracle, is a nice horse, but I think the other horses behind that weren't that good. And he ran fourth. He was up on the pace, and he sort of just backed out of it. And I think he just got bet because it was off the turf and he got bet. These other horses, I think, are more talented than him.
Well, more on the first-time starter for Chad Brown, Democratic Values, the 4. Let's go back to Maggie.
As you heard Andy mentioning in reference to Democratic Values warm-up, he carries himself so much like his sire, watching him warm up here. I used to love watching Honor Code gallop in the mornings because he just had this typical AP Indy head carriage where they carry their head on the ground practically. I remember galloping a horse. Here's this big, strong horse, and coming around the turn here at Belmont and thinking, there's somebody going faster than me coming up behind me, and thinking it might be a worker, and I was like, nope, they're on the outside of me. And it was Honor Code because he was just that strong and that big of a galloper. And looking at Democratic Values, watching him move, very reminiscent of his sire. And to that, as I mentioned, the lack of development behind was something that Honor Code had to achieve as well. He also had that high suspensory issue and that undescended testicle going back to his 2-year-old year. So it's something that kind of comes through those bloodlines a little bit when you see, I like this horse. I'm not going to be surprised when he wins here, though. Todd Pletcher's horse on the outside, Alpha 66, is holding strong, and I wish I looked up this stat, but Todd Pletcher, with his first time starting 2-year-olds wearing blinkers, a lot of times it just doesn't work out, Greg.
We'll see what happens here. There he is, Alpha 66, on a Liam's map, $400,000, Keeneland September yearling sale 2018, and is held steady as the favorite here at 6-5 on that outside post.
I'm looking forward to this race. I think this one could be a good one.
These could be a 4 Democratic Values, the 7 Alpha 66. These could be very nice runners. You're going to hear more from in the future.
Yeah, I mean, they're running early enough that they can come back in 4 weeks in our Champagne. Either or both. Well, probably either.
There's Alpha 66. Will move in line as the favorite. We send it upstairs. Now even money. Wow. Larry Colmus with the call. Here's the 5th from Belmont Park.
Alpha 66 stepping up to the starting gate under John Velasquez will be the last one to load here. Goes in. They're all in line. They're off. Unprecedented had the best start and goes out to the front with Hemlock away running in second. It's these two that speed out from Prince of Caps and Sagamore Mischief. Alpha 66 is 5th early on here, 4.5 lengths off the lead and just ahead of fellow first-time starter Democratic Values. King of American is the early trailer as the field heads up the backstretch. Unprecedented leads the way by 1.5 lengths. Hemlock heads apart with Sagamore Mischief, 2nd and 3rd at 23:01 opening quarter mile. Alpha 66 is moving up on the far outside, now up into 3rd and just 1.5 lengths off the lead. Then it's back to Prince of Caps. Democratic Values has 4.5 lengths to make up, going wide on the turn. And then comes King of American. So they make their way around the far turn in pursuit of Unprecedented, who's run 46.43 for the first half mile and turns for home with Sagamore Mischief right alongside, and Alpha 66 comes up outside of them while Hemlock comes up the rail. And now Hemlock is charged through on the inside of Alpha 66, and it's these two at the 8th pole, and it's Hemlock in front. Hemlock the leader down to the final 16th. Alpha 66 sticking with him. These two will decide it. Hemlock, Alpha 66. Alpha 66 got up and won. Running down Hemlock in the last strides. And then it was Unprecedented and Sagamore Mischief.
Alpha 66, he looked beat. Hemlock had a nose in front. He dug in first time out. That was a gritty win.
Really was. 1:16 and 3. They stopped the clock. Junior Alvarado just gave an absolutely textbook ride on Hemlock, saving all the ground, and thought he was home here, Andy, but the 7 showed why they were betting him. He showed a little fight there at the end.
I agree. This is a fast race, relatively speaking, because they weren't going fast early. The pace was extremely tepid, and they really quickened it up quite a bit. A very disappointing effort from Democratic Values, who had absolutely nothing in the stretch whatsoever. But this was a resolute win, because you're right, Hemlock got the right trip, and he got the right ride, and he looked like a winner. And this horse, Alpha 66, dug in and ran him down.
He's home right here.
It's a good-looking performance by both of them, but particularly the winner.
Yeah, you're right. Andy's right about both of them because they're well clear. And it just in mid-stretch, it looked like the 1 had this race won, but the 7 just shows you it might want to go a little bit longer. Actually won the race by about a half a length, considering it looked like the 1 was gone.
And let's not forget, I know it was a race that was taken off the turf. Hemlock was actually odds-on as a favorite first time out.
Yeah, no, this. I think if he ran this race first time out, he might have justified his odds because, you know, it's not going to come up that fast a race. I mean, you have to realize that it's legitimately 9.5 lengths slower than the Poppy Farm ran. He may have ran 100 buyer, but still, that would put this figure under 80. But I think the way the winner ran was very impressive.
I just like the way he came back. You can see the ears up on the 7, like he's tiny bit a little green. Like, what am I supposed to do? Okay, I'm supposed to go. And I think when Johnny hit him, wow, he took off a little bit and showed his class. And even money, the public got down late on this horse.
He runs to expectations here. Had to work for it. And he gets by a horse who had already started once, Alpha 66. Even money wins for Pletcher. Paul Pompa Jr., John Velasquez. All the prices for you when we come back as we continue along here on Turf Triple Day on America's Day at the Races. Stay tuned.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
The Kentucky Derby is a race that we all want to capture. But what he did in the Florida Derby, that got me green.
But inside the 16th pole, the 2017 Florida Derby to Todd Pletcher, and always dreaming they won it by 4 in the end.
Anytime you ever would go to see him in his breezes or in his races, you knew that he was the real deal. You really would get excited about what he was going to do for the future. I'm Jacob West, and this season, I'm always dreaming.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. He traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. Now his progeny are hitting the track. His first winners include Saratoga standout Vast, with juveniles selling for over $400,000 and yearlings bringing up to $650,000. The sky is the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, remember this name, Alpha 66. He has a very bright future ahead of him.
It's the son of Liam's map out of Giants Causeway mare, Giant Sensation, Johnny V in the irons, Todd Pletcher, and Mr. Pompa. Congratulations. This one was bred by Overbroken Kildare stud, and the 50-cent pick 4 comes back $26.37. Make sure you leave that 7 cents at the window. The early pick 5. I will bet that the late pick 5 will pay more than the early pick 5.
I would hope so. But this race about a very talented first-time starter. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Thank you, Greg. As we're here with winning owner Paul Pompa as he sends out Alpha 66. And boy, it was a hard-fought, determined effort. But he ran like a horse who had started before, Paul.
Well, he's been training really good, and Todd said that, you know, we're live. Usually he's conservative, and we drew a nice post. It was a nice field, and it was nice to get it done.
Now, I heard Johnny V, when he came back, he was really impressed with the gallop out from this horse.
Yeah, well, you know, he's Liam's map out of a Giants Causeway mare, so we're expecting him to be a 2-turn horse.
Now,
start somewhere, though.
Absolutely. They don't write those mile and eighth races that often around here for the 2-year-olds. But also, when you bought him, what was it that led you to take him as a yearling, and how excited were you heading into this race?
Well, I thought that we were going to be very competitive in the race, and we spend money, and you have to trust your agents. Steve Young was the agent on this horse, and we spent good money, and I'm happy because Liam's maps are really running. They came out good.
They really are, and kind of versatile as well. We've seen some on the turf too. But Paul, congratulations, Alpha 66. Bright future ahead.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, guys, we'll see how Alpha 66, maybe we'll see him in the Champagne. I should ask Paul that, but we'll see what Todd Pletcher thinks too.
They got options, and it just, you know, how quickly do they want to bring him along at this point? But off that effort, this horse has a ton of talent.
Yeah, I'm always happy to see Paul Pompa do well. He truly is one of the good guys in the game. Just a true gentleman. Always nice to talk to, always upbeat. Good to see him getting a good horse.
Could you have put that sequence together?
I did and lost $25 on my ticket.
I got 2/3 of a dollar back for every dollar I bet.
Yeah, the three of us all hit this early pick five. Combined, we lost close to $100.
Yeah, I lost.
Yeah,
I put in
somewhere in
$72 and lost.
So our
almost
empanadas
48
went from like $3 each to $13
Yes,
each, somewhere
they
in there.
did.
Yeah.
Sorry, an expensive lunch.
From what?
The good news is the Naira Bets late pick five, which begins in the 7th race. We expect to pay a lot more than what we just saw there through those first 5. Turf Trinity, again, that's what it's all about here on this Saturday afternoon. Jockey Club Derby Invitational, 1.5 on the turf. Top 2 finishers from the Saratoga Derby back in action. Henley's Joy, winner of the Belmont Derby, returns, but Spanish Mission showing up, a new shooter here. European coming in for David Simcock.
It's the horse that Andy and I both like. Now the gate's going to be the issue. We know this horse is going to break bad, but debuts with Lasix first time here in North America, and I just love the way this horse, still a tiny bit green to me, and you know, Jamie Spencer obviously very, very used to the riding here above Powers Court. I thought if he would have got out a little bit quicker, would have won this race. The time before that actually crushed a group.
Well, beat the horse who won this race.
Yeah, beat the horse that won that race. But this is Simcott's numbers in North America. Most of them at Woodbine, though.
Yeah, well, he's obviously brings horses over here that can run. And while you're right, the 4 wins were at Woodbine. This is a horse, I think, more importantly, that has experience in the 1.5 and 1.5 races. And that's what the main players from U.S. lack in here. We have no idea if they can handle the distance. This horse thrives at the distance.
Ian Russell, assistant to David Simcock. Here's on why they came here with Spanish Mission to the Jockey Club Derby.
This horse is owned by Earl Mack and Team Valor, so the connection there is obviously they're American-based. The money, which is a big attraction, and obviously the win and you're in kind of also backs that up. So with those 3 strong components, I think it's quite an attractive race to come to, really. He's travelled really good. It's a big trip for him to come to, and he's taken all of this very well. He's flown first time this time, and he's taken it all in very well. It's just been very routine, very steady, and everything he's done while he's been here has been spot on, perfect. Probably to the Americans, very low key, but here, you know, the sand is different, the track is very different to what we would have back in Newmarket.
Victory on turf at 3 turf tries. As you mentioned, maybe with a different move last time out, it could have been a different story. Could have got his 2nd victory on the turf. Expectations for today is, I mean, how far back early on is he going to be? And is that going to be a difference in this kind of a race at 1.5 miles?
I don't know. You know, he's never obviously faced probably the kind of pace he's going to face in here, but I don't know how strong the pace is going to be. And he does have an outside post, so perhaps that'll help him break. He was kind of cut off at the start last time. I don't know if the break was really his fault. I am very confident that this horse shows up. He is going to beat these horses. In fact, I'm only scared of the other European, the unknown San Huberto. I'm not scared of the U.S. horses.
I'm actually with you. I think this horse is going to be ultra tough. A lot of people are looking at this race thinking maybe Thread of Blue could take him to the wire. I don't care if this horse breaks slow or not. I just think he's got so much bottom and so much talent that he can still win this race. And you got to understand, too, he's been carrying 130, 127 pounds over there. He's carrying 8 pounds less today. He's going to be an absolute handful. He really is.
We'll get Lasix as well. Look at the winners of the first 2 legs. It was Henley's Joy, 20-1. Upset winner, Thread of Blue, 13-1. Gate to Wire winner. So we've had monster odds first 2 legs, but 3rd and final leg, you don't think that's going to be the same story?
No, I hope not. Right?
Turf Triple Double. You can earn a $10 bonus on the final legs of the Turf Triple Series today with NYRA Bets. Hit a $20 win bet on the Jockey Club Derby and the Jockey Club Oaks on the NYRA Bets app, and you'll score a $10 bonus. Go to nyrabets.com for all the details. Jockey Club Oaks Invitational. It could be a European flavor as well in the winner's circle. Adisa, two-time winner on the turf. Multiple group placed in France. We'll talk about her chances with Flavian Pratt when we come back.
Tom Durkin letting you know New York breds start with an advantage. At the sales, buyers pay up to 7 figures. And there's over $2 million in stakes money limited to New York sired horses in the New York Stallion Stakes Series, like the Park Avenue for 3-year-old fillies.
Newly minted wins it for fun.
For fun and money. The winner's share generates an additional $55,000 from the New York Breeding Fund.
Funny Guys gonna do it.
Funny Guys winning the Times Square division generates the same money. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
Feel my love for you.
Wild About Star shining big here in Berry 1.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing 1, 2. The Star Guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing 1, 2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
She's just a very obvious, very strong, well-made filly, great bone, great substance, a very easy filly to like, a very easy filly to get along with, and I would say be a trainer's delight.
What we really like about our Unhappy Yearling is just he looks very, very fast. He's beautifully balanced, he's a great mover. We've just been so happy with the way he's grown up and matured, and we really like him at the moment.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Categories covering the best of the sport and lifestyle, all decided by the fans. It's the America's Best Racing Fan Choice Awards.
Back on America's Day at the Races, it's brought to you by America's Best Racing, the go-to site covering the sport and lifestyle. Visit americasbestracing.net. Today, our 6th race coming up. It kicks off the Empire 6. 6 furlongs on the inner turf, 50,000 starter allowance coming up in a Dixie Twister. 4-1 morning line for Mike Maselli is now the 9-5 favorite.
Yeah, I think they're a little seduced here by the fact that this horse has had success at Belmont and did have a trip last time out. But listen, she can win here. I thought this race was wide open. But why is this horse? This horse is not favored in doubles, actually.
Yeah, Odramark we're looking at. Here's a 3. So 2-1 morning line is floated up right now to 6-1. We're going to take a look at Odramark in action.
I know she's lost consecutive races at 2-5 and 1-2, and that is never a good sign. But she did lose to a horse, Narsdale, in this race we're looking at here. That came back and improved her buyer figure 9 points, running 3rd in the stake at a price. So I'm not sure she didn't run against some better horses, and I had a tough time picking this race. I landed on her because I just didn't want anybody else.
Yeah, I can understand where you're going because she didn't give up in that last race. The race before, when she got beat by the 40 claimer against Morissette, I thought she gave it up a tiny bit. I'm going to say she's better chasing a horse, and she ended up running into a nice horse because if you see the end of that race, she was trying really hard. So I don't think she wants the front end, and there is a lot of speed in here.
Let's get a paddock report. Head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Yes, Paul, I totally agree with you. And in terms of her last effort, she looked as though she was going to be beaten by about 3 lengths, and then she battled back to only be beaten by a neck in her last start, talking about number 3, Odramark here. But the last start, Morissette, she had 2 subsequent starts up at Saratoga. Granted, one was off the turf, but the one prior to that was on the turf, and she was horrible. But Odramark here in the paddock is okay. She's actually a bit bigger than I expected, bigger than your typical turf sprinting filly, and I like that, but she lacks a little bit of muscle mass, a little bit of strength behind, and that's probably why she has speed, but sometimes she's not the quickest overall, and maybe she does want somebody to go out in front of her and kind of have her pick up the pieces. She's fine here. I don't have too many complaints, but because she's a bigger price on the board as of now, we'll see how she does. Moving on to number 2, Pecan Patty for Jeremiah Engelhardt. Second off of that layoff is she'll try the turf for the first time. She was entered as an MTO in her previous effort. Now, Fleet Express, you don't think turf necessarily, but a full sister to her won 2 races on the turf. They were on the cheaper side, but then again, still 2-time turf winner, and she's a full to her. Looking at her here in the paddock, she does have those slacker pasterns. She might be able to handle it. She's not that convincing overall, but I will say that she does look a bit more fit than what she did up at Saratoga. You know, I had thought, well, she's a lighter frame filly. Her weight actually looks good for her, but sometimes that's an indication that they just really aren't at 100% fitness. So I think Pecan Patty might be a little bit intriguing, just given that progression from first to second start. As we'll check in with number 1, that is Teletype. First off facing winners for the first time, as she won first off the claim for Rudy Rodriguez, and I wasn't planning on liking this filly, but she looks fantastic here in the paddock. Like I said, I can't really endorse her as far as her PPs or her form is concerned, but she's won me over a bit here in the paddock. Greg?
Maggie, thank you very much. I'll look at Teletype here, 5-1. And Javier Castellano in the silks of Mike Rapoli. Rapoli stable will be aboard.
I'll get her in the winner's circle. I don't like her at all. I mean, the positive for her is she clearly improved off the claim by Rudy Rodriguez. That was a race where the speed pretty much held up. I don't love this field, but boy, I just think there are going to be better horses than her, but maybe I'll be wrong.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the other way. I like her, and the only reason why is she ran a bang-up race last time, and I'm wondering what's going to happen with her. Can she pass horses? I don't know if Odra wants to be in front of horses.
Isn't proportionality going to be in
front?
front?
Yeah, I would think so, yeah. Proportionality of the 6 should show some speed. The thing is when you look at a lot of these horses, you have the one who's a one-time winner, and you're going to play against this horse who's a 5-time winner. And by the way, is 4 for 5 at Belmont. So that's where you run into the problem of picking the one. And I know the 5, the price isn't right, Andy, but you can't deny what the horse's credentials are at the track.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm not going to argue with that, and I'm not going to be surprised if she wins. I don't like her.
I agree. Not at that price.
I think she has been extremely fortunate when she has won. She has had very dressed up, perfect trips in those races against not very good fields. Now, she's not made any killers here either, so I guess I won't be surprised if she wins. And I found this race completely perplexing and thought anyone but Pecan Patty, and I didn't like Teletype, could win. But I don't want her at a short price.
On the outside, there's Tipple, who we're looking at now, 3-year-old filly who was just claimed off a win. It came at Saratoga for non-winners of 2 lifetime, and she was favored in that race, but she did win with a wide trip.
She did, and she's the one, if it breaks down, she's going to be dead last. She'll be flying late.
Well, she did save ground, and she actually got a very good trip, in my opinion, in that race. I didn't like the field she ran against, but maybe she'll improve. But you got a horse off the claim from Christophe Clement.
Yeah, that's the
thing. Claim from.
Yeah, tough guy to claim from is right.
And now you're facing just about everybody with better credentials than who you just faced.
True.
Listen, I found this race extremely difficult to get a handle on.
Because the 2's an unknown too. You don't know if that horse is going to run the turf.
Well, what if the 6 proportionality gets loose here and keeps going? Did she run that badly last time?
No.
She'd lose to a long shot who was on the pace, but for her first turf race in a while, it was a big improved effort for Ray Handel.
It was her first race on
months.
any surface in 8 months.
Yeah.
And her first try on turf.
I'm not going to be shocked when she runs much better, and she's a big price at least.
Yeah, I thought that was a good effort to hang in there on the front end, going pretty quick up front.
What about Take Charge Tina? I mean, her one turf race, I know it was a 6 furlongs, but it was good enough to be competitive, if not win here. And who's to say she isn't necessarily better going shorter? I don't love her, but I thought she was contender.
At least she was part of the pace, Andy, where she wasn't far off that 6 furlong sprint, so she won't be too far removed.
No, I don't disagree. She's not supposed to be that slow, and she's not a mile and 1/8 horse. I don't want her last race.
Here comes Teletype kicking off our post parade for Rudy Rodriguez, second off the claim. Claimed this one off of BELMONT.
No doubt improved off the claim first time for Rudy, but she is meeting tougher in this spot.
9-1 on Pecan Patty. First time on turf, Jeremiah Engelhardt.
She's eating up some money. 25 cents on a dollar, 65 cents on a dollar, and 6 to 5. But maybe turf is what she's always wanted.
Another money burner here has been beaten at odds on each of the last two. Odremark.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Lost at 1 to 2 and 2 to 5. And I picked her in this race. She lost to a horse, though, that came back and ran a big race in her next start.
Take Charge, Tina. This will be the second try on turf, and the first was going a mile at Saratoga.
I don't think I've seen 3 horses in a row that have lost at 25 cents on the dollar. The 3 lost at 40 cents a dollar. Take Charge Tina has lost at 75 and 50 cents on the dollar.
It's like the money burner purse.
I know, right?
Here is a Dixie Twister. She loves it at BELMONT. 4 for 5 lifetime on the turf here.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, Paul, she's a multiple winner, which is one of the reasons probably people are betting on her. I just think her wins are a bit dressed up, but she has the credentials.
11-1 on Proportionality. Tried to wire a field off an 8-month layoff last start in just her second turf try ever.
I think the key, though, is that she showed her speed on turfs, which is that what you're going to get today. So she might be a lot fitter today.
And on the outside, 5-2 on Tipple. Phil Serpy off the claim.
Another one who comes off a win. She was claimed and comes from Christophe Clement. I don't like her last race, but you can't say she can't win here.
I get the feeling this is a pretty wide open group here. We don't know where to go.
I looked at this race forever. I feel like I looked at this race for over an hour before I made picks, just because, honestly, I didn't like anybody. I begrudgingly picked a horse that's coming off 2 odds-on defeats, which I hate to do.
Well, this is a look at Take Charge Tina, just claimed. Her only turf try was a mile on the turf at Saratoga. She was almost, well, she was 7-1 that day, and she ran pretty good. Now the blinkers come off, and it's interesting to see where she is going to be placed in this race.
Why would you take the blinkers off going the 6 furlongs? But it's Carlos Martin, very, very good. You would think you'd keep the blinkers on to keep her a little sharper, but not. So yeah, I think you're going to go back to some of those races where she's going to sit way back and make one run.
I don't
guess.
know. I'm puzzled.
I am puzzled, too, by that. Because she seems like she's improved with the blinkers. I mean, that 72 buyer on the turf, that plays here.
No, it does. But, you know, once again, as you say, it's hard to see her close to the pace.
Close to the pace, yeah. Now with the blinkers
given
off.
this, there is some real speed
coming
here.
out of a mile and an eighth, too, you'd think is going to dull her speed.
Yeah, I agree. And that was quite an awful field she lost to last time.
12-1 on potentially. Well, you got to think Odremark's going to be there too, but Proportionality, we know she wants to go to the front.
Yeah, she has to go, and Teletype has to go from the inside and sort of at least hold her position, right?
I would think so, yeah, and maybe that sets up for Odremark. The faster they go up front, and the Tipple's going to be licking her chops on the outside, the 7. She needs a lot of pace, but her last 2 efforts, she's gotten that pace to run into. 21-1, 21-3. I don't know if they're going to go that fast. Proportionality can, but we'll see if they do go that fast early.
11-1 on one of the speedsters in this race that kicks off the Empire 6. For more on Proportionality, let's go to Maggie.
This is one of those races that it's really hard to sink your teeth into anybody. I just defaulted to who I thought looked best down in the paddock, and that is number 1 Teletype. Like I said, I can't really make a case for it on paper, but let's check in with one of the horses that is very fast, and that's number 6, Proportionality, for trainer Ray Handel, as I caught up with him walking out to the racetrack here. And I said, Ray, are you going to the lead? And he said, I don't know. He kind of sighed and he said, Manny really thought that Odremark was faster, but Ray said, I think my filly's fast, and when she breaks that sharp, it's really hard to tell her what to do as far as taking her back. So he said, he told Manny, do not take anything away from her, and that he has an ideal post being towards the outside. She looks good. She does look tighter, a lot tighter than that first race coming back off the bench. So I respect her here at a big price. She's not going to surprise me if she comes home a winner. As we'll also check in with number 4. She would surprise me a little bit. Take Charge Tina. Not that she looks poorly, and Matt Scherer and Carlos Martin, they've teamed up for some pretty good claims in the past, but she's turning back in distance, and I have to say, she definitely does not look like a 6 furlong horse. You look at her compared to Proportionality, and you see two totally different types of physicals. She's very long-backed, kind of leaner, more narrow, even frame, whereas proportionality, she's got those big, robust shoulders, big hindquarters, and she's compact. And I just don't necessarily get it. I'm fine with her on the turf for her second try, and maybe they're trying to turn her into a closing sprinter with those blinkers off. I just don't necessarily see it with her, and she's about half the price as proportionality, who I would rather take if we're comparing the two, Greg.
All right, Maggie, so thanks for that. 10-1 on proportionality. Meanwhile, take charge Tina in your screen right now at 6-1.
I don't agree with Manny Franco. I think looking at quarter fractions at 5 furlong races in Monmouth can be a bit deceptive. I think proportionality is faster than Odremark if he wants to let the horse do what she does best.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the horse does the rocket ship out of the gate, but yeah, he doesn't want to get caught up in his speed duel. But when you look at proportionality, I don't see that horse passing a horse. It needs to be in front.
Go in front. Do what she does best and lose with your best. She's 10-1, but don't lose because you took her out of her game. And
I think Lascano wants proportionality to go to the front. He wants Teletype to go with them and then sit.
Who says Odremark's a speed here?
I agree.
I don't
think
understand
Odremark
what
wants to
about her
sit.
screams a speed horse. I don't see that logic at all.
And 9-2 from 2-1. Maybe they're reading the last two Navarro horses that been bet have not run. One ran off the board yesterday.
And the other problem is that if Manny says, well, the 3's going to lead, then the 3 shows a little speed and he just rates. The 3, Odremark, ends up walking on the front end and has a big advantage. Why would you want that to happen? Becomes a negative self-fulfilling prophecy.
Again, I keep broken record, but a lot of these horses have been beaten at low odds besides the 7. And I'm looking at Tipple and thinking, you know what? He always comes with that late run. She always does. And I'm wondering if she's going to come with it again, Greg. I think she's getting better and better. Light bulb went on after winning that maiden 40. She won the maiden 30. Phil picked her up. I get it. Coming out of the Christophe Clement barn, tough to do, but she might be rolling in the center of the race.
She, the 7, and yeah, the 5, who's favored. Those are the 2 that most likely benefit
from the speed,
from the hot pace up front. But maybe you're right. Maybe Tipple just coming into her own. Well, she's won her last 2, but facing much better than what she faced in those 2.
That's true. But sometimes you want to take the confidence over the horses that have been getting beat at low prices, you know?
Absolutely. Wide open race to start off this Empire 6 on our Turf Triple Day with our 3rd and final leg in the Tiara and Trinity division. But our Empire 6 starts here. A Dixie Twister, the 5, the 1 to beat on the board as a 2-1 favorite. Let's go upstairs. Larry Colmus with the call, 6 from Belmont.
Proportionality steps forward and goes in. 1 left to load, and that's Tipple, who will take position in the outside stall. Tipple going in. They're all in line. They're off. Proportionality had the best beginning. Tipple on the outside with early speed, and Teletype from the rail. Take Charge Tina came out running in 4th behind them. Then a Dixie Twister who's going up in between horses. Odremark is second last early. Just a bit headstrong there's Odremark, and the early trailer is Pecan Patty, who's 6 lengths off of front-running Proportionality, who makes the pace moving for the far turn. Teletype on the inside, Tipple right alongside a Dixie Twister between those two. A 23.17 opening quarter mile. Odremark follows in 5th, 4.5 lengths off the lead, racing just to the outside of Take Charge Tina, while the trailer continues to be Pecan Patty as the field makes their way around the far turn. Proportionality 3/4 of a length ahead. A Dixie Twister is second. Tipple is out there 3 wide in 3rd. Break of 2.5 to Teletype. Then Odremark on the far outside, a 46.7 mile. They're into the stretch. Proportionality taken on by a Dixie Twister. These two come to the 8th pole side by side. A Dixie Twister takes the lead, and now Teletype is rallying up the rail, and then comes Tipple and Odremark on the far outside. A Dixie Twister, Odremark finishing fast. These two down to the line. A Dixie Twister over Odremark, and then it was Take Charge Tina and Teletype.
Well, so wide open, but the favorite in the end gets the win here. 5-2, the horse for course. Now 5 for 6 at Belmont.
And the pace was so slow up front that Dylan Davis did the right thing and got a Dixie Twister into position, and it made it much easier for her. Not the speed that some people seem to think was the speed. Odremark probably a little too far off of this pace. Ran very well to be second, but you're beginning to wonder, does she not want to win?
Yeah, that's the key. I looked at both of you. I'm like, how are the 5 and 7 up close, the two best finishers? Well, the 7 didn't want to be up that close and backed out of it, but the 5 just showed that likes to finish races and win races. The 3 might have been the best in here, but we did figure one thing out. They wanted to take the 3 off the pace, and it was way better from off the pace.
And an impossible race, the first and second choices ran 1-2.
AB. 5-3-4 finish. A Dixie Twister.
I'll tell you, the 4 ran okay, Wolfie. Got caught in between horses, and she rolled on late for third. And Maggie hit the nail on the head. 7 furlongs, probably perfect for her, not 6.
Tough for those routers to win 6.
Yeah.
Empire 6, formful beginning. A Dixie Twister. Some horses just love certain courses. She loves it here. 5 for 6 at Belmont. Goes off as your 5-2 favorite. We'll be back with the prices in just a moment, and then we'll get in to the Naira Bets late pick 5. Stay with us. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus.
Hit 430. This filly is half to a stakes winner and Puerto Rican champion Pure Lemon. Hit 423. A filly by champion sprinter Run Happy. A half-sister to 3 stakes horses, including multiple graded stakes winner and classic performer Broadway's Alibi. Selling at Keeneland, September.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Piranha, the leader in fly control and wipe and spray products, now has premium equine grooming products. Introducing Aloe Pro Shampoo, an organic concentrate enriched with vitamins A, D, and E, and silk protein. Piranha Detangler, a dry comb-through detangling spray that conditions, moisturizes, keeping tail and mane manageable. And Shine Baby Shine, a water-based coat conditioner that leaves a show ring shine every time. Visit piranhaeat.com to see our full line of equine products, and for a limited time, use promo code NAIRA to receive a 10% discount on your order. Piranha on, pests gone.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now his much-anticipated first crop has arrived. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races. A Dixie Twister with the victory. Now 5 wins and 6 tries on the Belmont turf. Mike Maselli, Dylan Davis, and a 6-year-old mare by Hard Spun returned $7.30 is the favorite here to kick off the Empire 6. 5-3-4 finish. So we head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with winning trainer Mike Maselli of a Dixie Twister. Mike, she picks up her 5th win of her career, 4 of those here at Belmont. Can you make any sense of why she loves it here at Big Sandy?
She likes Belmont, you know, because of the turns and stuff, and gives her a little more chance to pick up her horses. And she just loves this course here, and the 3/4 is what helps her. You know, 5.5, like at Saratoga, was a little too short for her.
Mike, you now have 13 wins with less than 50 starters. It's been an incredible 2019 for you. Talk a little bit about that success.
You know, I have a good crew that helped me, and the owners have stood by me, and we got some horses that fit this year. In past years, I didn't have this type of mix, and this year I do, and they've been paying off.
All about having horses for those conditions, right?
Yes. I don't know, once they lose their conditions, then you can be in a little trouble sometimes.
She's picked through hers quite successfully, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, she tries hard, and she's a very game horse.
That she is. Mike, congratulations here.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right, a Dixie Twister, as Mike was saying, she just loves it here at Belmont. Bigger type of mare, likes those bigger turns, Greg.
Yeah, struggled at Saratoga. She was not the same, having coming into that race last start. off back-to-back wins at Belmont, back where she loves it and proved again this is her home. As we move on to the start of the NYRA Bets late pick 5 starts here in the 7th. 7 furlongs on turf, entry level allowance, and a Halliday for Todd Pletcher. Seems like a 3-year-old with a lot of upside.
And it feels like the Pletcher magic is back. Boy, his horses have been running extremely well for him. And, you know, his 2-year-olds are running well, but Halliday's just a well-placed horse. And his last race, I think some of us were expected to win, but it wasn't like he was favored in there. And the horse who beat him's okay penalty. 7 furlongs, around 1 turn, supposed to be as good, if not better, for him in the mile race. He looks so good. How could he possibly win, Greg? I mean,
6 to 5 right now. Jockey Club Oaks Invitational, meanwhile, it's part of this NYRA Bets late pick 5. Race 9 on the card today, mile 3/8. Third and final leg of this turf triple series for the 3-year-old fillies. And Adisa, 5-2 morning line. Flavien Prat will ride multiple group place filly in France.
Yeah, I just think she's a very dangerous horse shipping over here. The distance is not supposed to be a problem for her. I thought this was a very solid effort in her last start. And she is one of the 3 Europeans near her, very, very strong. Now, she's the morning line favorite. I picked her. I think she's probably the likeliest winner of them, but we'll see. I mean, she's kept some good company. A race 2 back. She was to a horse that was a runner-up in a Group 1 against Olders in her next start.
Meanwhile, Wonderment for Nicholas Clement, daughter of Camelot, Group 1 winner back as a 2-year-old.
Yeah, obviously she's been somewhat disappointing so far as a 3-year-old, but she hasn't run horrendously, and she finished a couple lengths behind the Prix de Diane winner, the French Oaks. Her last race was disappointing. She gets Lasix. Nicholas Clement doesn't ship here too often. You gotta think she's a big-time player.
7-2 morning line. Meanwhile, Love So Deep for trainer Jane Chapel-Hyam will get Lasix for the States debut here. Most recently ran at Deauville.
Yeah, now that was a very soft course. So, but there's some give in the ground today, and you know she's going to handle it okay. It's just is one of these horses that keeps improving. It's actually not her. I had mislabeled it, guys. It's actually the horse in the rail on the inside who's in front is Love So Deep in this race. She's just improved with every start. Her last race was exceptionally good. You know she's going to handle the distance, Greg.
You would think.
Is it too short for her?
Yeah, that might be the only question.
Right.
Here's her trainer on the decision to run in this race.
We had the first 2 days here in this barn, the Great Secretariat barn, and then we moved out onto the track and we've enjoyed it. We've just been doing steady work because, as you know, on the form, you can see she ran a couple of weekends ago, and that was on soft conditions in Deauville, and then she had to travel from France back to England, which is sort of 10 hours door to door. So she's come in here fit, so we didn't really have to give her a blowout on the track. I've always wanted to have a runner at Belmont, and I've got close a couple of times, and it appealed to the owners to come here and give it a go, and it's a new race, and they're all keen to support new races here at Belmont.
Well, the owners, the Love So Deep Syndicate, and this is now a dream come true for Jane Chapel-Hyam. Has always wanted to run at Belmont. It will happen today, and definitely one of the main contenders in this race, and that, you know, was created to try and emulate the American Classics in the Triple Crown Series and draw an international cast, and we've got an international cast this afternoon.
Got one today, and you can't blame them, especially the 1 3/8 distance, right? There's so much, they've had so much more experience. Our horses don't get the opportunity really to run in those races, where in Europe there's plenty of opportunities.
There is Halliday. Is he the key to the late pick 5? Favored at 6 to 5 on the board right now for trainer Todd Pletcher. We'll talk through the field here in the 7th when we come back.
What could be better than standing 1 Triple Crown winner? Standing 2.
Here comes American Pharaoh. Justified, turning for home in front. And American Pharaoh has Justified. He's unstoppable. The 37-year wait is over. American Pharaoh, Justified, has won the Triple Crown.
Coolmore, America, home of Triple Crown champions.
We're gonna go traveling.
Hip number 43, a colt by champion sprinter, Run Happy. Out of a half-sister to multiple graded stakes winner and Grade 1 placed Kitten's Point. From the immediate family of top performers, 5-Star Day, High Finance, and Marquetry. Consigned by Claiborne Farm. Selling at Keeneland, September.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
And it's Warfront. The half was 45 flat. It will be Warfront and Jose Santos.
I think the numbers speak for himself. You know, he's the highest priced stallion in North America, and he's really proven it this year with Omaha Beach and War of Will shining through on the dirt nonetheless.
But nothing stood in his way. War of Will won the Preakness. Today was the day for War of Will.
People will hopefully be reminded that he's a dirt sire as well as a top international turf sire.
He had a number of dirt stakes winners out of his first crop, and for the first 3 or 4 crops he had dirt stakes winners. And then he's gone through a couple of years where he had just turf winners, but I think there were a lot of the offspring ended up in Europe. I would say this September will make a big difference in the way they look at the war fronts.
This guy right now has an estimated value right at $85 million.
Very athletic horse. Real straightforward, class, smart, no problems to work with. Every day is pretty much the same with him. I guess his biggest, as far as funny behavior, is when he's out for the tours and you give him a few peppermints, he'll start to lick his lips. If the sun's shining, hitting him on the back during the tour while we're doing that, he'll almost get a little bit sleepy-eyed. And with this horse, for any kind of video or photo shoots, his ears. You don't have him pinned like he's upset. He just kind of got him flopped back. After being out there for a few minutes, time to go back in after all the visitors had a chance to pet on him and take some photos with him. He kind of gets a little reluctant to go back into a stall because he seems to enjoy the attention.
There is a look at Halliday, son of Warfront, Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez, lightly raced on turf, a win in 2 seconds and 3 tries.
Well, they tried the blinkers the first 2 starts, right? And they were off the turf events and just didn't work. They've always trying to get this great colt of Warfront on the turf and took the blinkers off. I think it's the turf that's helped. We'll see what happens with today, but the horse to beat by far.
Did you ever face Roy Halladay?
Yes, many times, plenty of times, and
tremendous
was such a competitor. And this horse named after the late great Roy Halladay, and this was a brutal beat. I mean, just was fighting down to the wire and just got out finished by penalty. But you can't take nothing away because this horse battled back again when penalty sort of lugged in a tiny bit on him. But I thought that was a winning race. Now going 7 furlongs should set him up nice.
So 4 to 5. Jose Ortiz was actually board last time out at Saratoga, but Velasquez was on board for the maiden score and came here at Belmont. It came at 7 furlongs, and it came on this Widener turf course.
And Jose Ortiz, of course, I believe he's riding like at Kentucky Downs pretty
They
much
are,
the whole
they?
beat or
Yeah.
something. So we'll see him when they're done after next week.
What do you do with this horse, Andy, Mango M? This horse has had a couple good races here at Belmont.
Personally, I don't think he's good enough. I do think he had a bit of a trip last time, and he didn't really run that badly in the context of his last race. But to me, he doesn't have one race that makes him good enough to beat the likes of Halladay. And my backup is Lawn Twist, who I think is a very good price. At 12
Actually,
to 1
with
right
you,
now.
that's the 6, Lawn Twist. If you look at some of his races, they're good at Belmont. His 2 races, Greg, were his best 2 races at Belmont, and he was able to show a little bit tactical speed one time, and then he came from way out of it where he got a little unlucky. So I think Long Twist, along with the 2 Mango M. Mango M would be probably my long shot, putting the blinkers on. But I think Long Twist got a big shot.
Your long shot's the second choice right now there, big boy.
Really? I don't know about 5-1 now on the 2.
MSG Plus,
right?
Leaving us here at the top of the hour. We're back on MSG Plus tomorrow, 1 Eastern to 6. We will see you then. Of course, we're continuing along here on FS2. We're going to send it downstairs. Paddock report time to Maggie Wolfendale.
Here in the paddock for today's 7th race, as horses are set and ready, and Halliday as a likely post-time favorite. He looks great here for trainer Todd Pletcher, but let's check in with a bit of a fuzzy, and that's number 7. Tickman Flew here. So he'll try the turf for the first time. This son of Street Sense does have a sibling who was good on the turf and ran actually a 92 buyer, but everybody else hasn't been that productive. And while I like this horse, and I feel like there's been high hopes for him, he must show a bit in his training. He's this big, rangy, good-looking type. He's even grown since the last time I had seen him, which was early on in his 3-year-old campaign, going back to Aqueduct for the Gotham. So I appreciate that. There's some development, but is the turf really the right surface for him? You know, he's very upright through his shoulder, through his pastern, through his foot. Like I said, he looks great. I just don't know about this move. As we'll check in with number 9, Quirky, in here. He's going to have to improve. I get it, but something tells me that the 7 furlong distance might be perfect for Quirky. He is the likeliest front runner, pace setter in here. Not that that's any advantage by any means whatsoever on these turf courses, but he presents himself well, and he presents himself like a true 7 furlong horse. I like his energy here. I like his coat and flesh. I think Quirky looks fantastic for trainer Mike Deeney, and find him very intriguing as Luis Saez is aboard. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. So another one where we all have differing opinions, I believe, of what to do in this race that kicks off this Now Our Best Late Pick 5. Public, though, seems like they want to potentially single here with Halliday.
Yeah, they do at 4 to 5. I thought there was different options in there. I think the 9 is a viable option. I'm going to go deep. I'm going to try to beat Holiday because, you know, I think a lot of people will. 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, race number 8. I'm going to use the 4 and the 7. I love Realm and Marconi. Listen, Marconi's gotten the best of Rocketry 6 times. If Rocketry beats me in the 7th time, I'll live with it. Race number 9, I talked about my best bet of the day is Adisa on the inside, the one with Flavian Pratt, the daughter of Kitten's Joy. I'm going to go deep in the Jockey Club Derby Invitational. I do like Spanish Mission. I'm a little bit worried that he might break slow, but I'm going to use Tone Broke and some other horses in there. And then in the last race, the 1 and the 8 are the 2 horses that are going to get bet in there. Maybe the 9 will probably be your 3rd choice, but those are probably the 2 horses that everybody's probably going to use in the last today.
You got that, Greg?
Well, I would agree with that. The 1 and the 8, I think, are.
Or Andy's Crazy 2. He's got the Crazy 2. I like the 9. Listen, the 5 is 0 for 17 in the last, but has races that can win that race that fit.
Sounds like an all to me, Paul.
I know.
It's a state-bred maiden 25. There's no certainty.
It's one of those ones when you get to the last, you're not too confident.
Champagne Chills on the rail.
The DQ
lead
effect.
to himself.
The DQ effect, though. It's how many times you see a horse get DQ'd and then come right back and win their next start?
6 has some speed, right? Blessed Honor? I don't know. I used the 1, 2, 3, and 8, my main ticket.
I could see the 3. Yeah, Freudian Sip. I could see that horse.
I think Luis is going to be aggressive and get to the front in there, but
Probably
we'll see.
right.
But I thought the
Probably
1 and the
right.
8 were the 2. Here comes our post break for the 7th, the JY. 4 for 6 at Belmont, cutting back in distance.
Yeah, he did run well at 7 furlongs, 2 back when he won. I agree the cutback will help. I just don't know if his win 2 back is good enough to win this race.
2 horse, Mango M, Shug McGahee putting blinkers on.
Yeah, this one for Bill Parcells and Augustin Farm. He got his picture taken at the end of the Saratoga meet. This one will put the, like I said, the blinkers on. 3 for 7 at Belmont.
Here's the favorite, Halliday, 3 to 5 now.
Yeah, 3 to 5. But, you know, if he runs to his race 2 back, he's going to be very, very tough in here.
King Cause, 16 to 1. Flavian Pratt, Dermot Magner.
Yeah, you know, he's not the worst long shot throwing. It's not like he ran that badly behind Holiday. He was only beaten length and 3/4 to Holiday when they met 2 back.
Here's lawn twist, 13-1, Leo O'Brien, Dylan Davis.
Yeah, this year as a 4-year-old, the 4 turf sprints have resulted in a first, second, third, and a fourth. I think a player in here.
Tikvin flew for a brief moment, was on the Triple Crown Trail. Steve Asmussen, Javier Castellano, turf debut.
He has a smidgen of turf, but not much. I think if he doesn't do well here, his connections need to get back to what he may want to do all the time, which is sprint on the dirt.
American Rule also trying turf for the first time.
Bullet Drill coming in, but that was before this horse raced on August 24th. Now going to try the turf. Would be a big shocker.
And Quirky on the outside, going to cut back in distance like the JY.
He does have that good big figure 3 back where he beat cross border, but he also set a very slow pace that day, which held up. But he's not impossible at a price.
That is your field for the late pick 5, over 230,000 in the pool. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
I'm pleased to be joined by owner Jeff Bloom of Bloom Racing as he'll send out Tikvin Flew first here on this card. Tikvin Flew, Jeff, trying the turf for the first time. How are we feeling about that?
Well, no, in about 10 minutes, I guess. You know, he started off with so much dazzle and so impressive and just kind of hasn't crossed over yet. And we were kind of looking at, yeah, maybe the turf will be a change of pace for him. And so I wish it was a more firm course today, but we'll find out. We'll see if he likes it.
Now, will Henley's Joy like it is the next question for you, as he'll be in the Jockey Club Derby trying to take first and third leg of this. Talk about, though, last time. It probably wasn't an ideal trip, whereas in that Belmont Derby, he truly did get the ideal trip.
Yeah, you know, actually, when you look at the race, the last one at Saratoga, there was just no pace, and he was so far back. He actually came running with a fury and overcame way more than we really thought he would, considering the pace. So I would expect the 1.5 miles will really be to his liking. He'll probably be a little bit more forwardly placed, and we know he likes it here. So it would be nice to take down 2 legs of the Turf Trinity.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, you also treated us to actually our #1 Saratoga moment of this year with Midnight Bisou throwing it down with Elate in the personal ensign. She has been remarkable this year. And talk about her, reflect upon her, and what the future brings for the next couple months.
How much time do you have?
Go ahead. We love her.
She's just, you know, I light up when her name's brought up. She's just so special to us. She is remarkable, and she came out of that race. You know, I was expecting her to be laying down in her stall. She had to put it all on the line running against that great mare in Elate, and she came out bouncing, ate up all her food. She's breathing fire and could not be doing any better. She's still up at Saratoga, where she'll train there till she comes down here to run in the Beldame on Super Saturdays. So we're looking forward to getting her back here at Belmont, where she's probably run 2 of her better races in her career, but so far so good.
Jeff, I was there at Sam Houston when she made her 4-year-old debut, and everybody was kind of like, whew, glad that was done, but she's just exploded since then. I mean, it's just her progression throughout the year has been something to be seen.
She really did blossom, you know, both mentally, I think, and physically, with a little bit of a break after the Breeders' Cup. And she actually came into that kickoff race at Houston in great shape, and she was left a lot to do, but she got it done. And it's like Mike Smith always tells me. He said, you know, she knows how to win, she wants to win, and she puts me to that wire first. It's been close a couple times, but she gets there.
I get chills talking about her. I mean, she's almost giving me Rachel vibes as well. I mean, obviously, she hasn't quite done that, but she's just been remarkable throughout her career, and job well done for campaigning her like you have.
Well, she does it all for us, but thank you so much. We're big fans.
Jeff, best of luck, too, with both your runners today.
Thank you.
All right, gosh, she's quickly making me one of her biggest fans as well. Can't wait to see Midnight Bisou in that Beldame coming up a little bit later here at Belmont. Greg?
And the thing is, with Midnight Bisou, as good as she is, and she's a candidate for the Horse of the Year.
Yeah.
She's even better at Belmont.
No, she is. And what Jeff was telling Mike, or telling Maggie about Mike, that she knows where the wire is so true. I mean, the way she ran down Elate, I still can't believe she did. But she knew exactly where that wire is. Jeff Bloom, man, he is so good for racing. Such a great human being. And he throws one of the best kickoff parties if you're ever at Del Mar. He'll get a live band. I went and saw Styx live with like 70 people, own private concert with Mr. Bloom. And one year, I want to say he had Air Supply. He gets like real groups, and he knows how to get loose and get some winners. He's just a great guy, and the Bloom Racing Stable does a great job too.
So I had a lot to celebrate this year with the campaign that she's put together. So we'll see how Tikvin Flew. I mean, this horse was briefly, and this horse ran third against High Cal, who was going to run in the Kentucky Derby. Just the second start of his career in the Jimmy Winkfield. Tried him going a little bit longer. The Derby trail did not pan out. So now seeing if maybe turf can be something he can do as we look at Corky, 9-1. Speed cutting back.
Yeah, and this is a dangerous horse, and I'll tell you why. Like, they only paid $4,000 for this son of the Factor. Now, after his race on May 27th, they gelded him, and what happened? Boom, he ran an 88 buyer, and he's turned into maybe a different type of horse. And if you look, his races at Monmouth, not good. Races at Belmont, good. Same thing with Michael Deeney up in Saratoga. He had like 4 or 5 winners, and they were all coming off losses at Monmouth. So I would not dismiss the son of the Factor, and you're getting a good price at 9-1, as your 4 now is 3-5, Greg.
Let's head downstairs, check in again with Maggie.
Mike Deeney was so funny after that last winner. Paul was bringing up his success at Saratoga. He said, I can't win anywhere else but here. It must be the jockeys. So he's very funny, but I do like Corky here. But want to talk about number 2, Mango M. He puts the blinkers on. He's a horse that does appreciate Belmont a bit more than Saratoga. Just a short cup on this runner who is cutting back in distance. He's won at the 7 furlongs here before. So granted, that was against New York breds, but I'm not against him either. But Andy's long shot in here, and you weren't expecting him to be 13-1, but that's Lawn Twist. I mean, it's lower profile connections. I get it, but this horse doesn't look like a 13-1 shot, and neither does his PP. So I'd be a little bit scared of Lawn Twist, especially at the 7 furlong distance. It might hit him right between the eyes, Greg.
Yeah, this horse, I mean, numbers to go back to that are some of the best in this field of anybody, what they've done.
Yeah, I mean, I think 7 furlongs, is that a bit of a question? Is he better going 6 furlongs? We don't really know if he is, but it's a one-turn race. I think he makes some sense. He comes out of what came up a very fast race last time.
I think that worries me is that you look 2 back, right? And he got trounced by Penalty and Holiday and Penalty have traded punches. That's the thing. Is he even as close or fast enough as the Gray of the 4?
Loading up. On favorite, Halliday, the 3-year-old son of Warfront for Todd Pletcher. It's the start of the NYRA Bets late pick 5. Let's get it upstairs to Larry Colmus for the call.
Just waiting for Corky now to take position in the outside stall. Goes in. They're all in line. They're off. And it's Corky on the outside, out for the lead, with Halliday away in second, King Cause third. Mango M is fourth on the inside, then the JY, American Rule on the far outside, and Tikvin Flew. Lawn Twist is the trailer, 8 lengths off of front running Corky, who leads the way up the backstretch and leads it by 3/4 of a length over Halliday, who's second to his inside. Farther out, American Rule is third as they continue their run up the backstretch. Then a length and a half farther back to Mango M, who's down on the inside, racing 4 lengths off the lead. King Cause is next by another 2, then the JY, Tikvin Flew, and Lawn Twist at the back of the pack. So they make their way around the far turn in pursuit of Corky, who leads Halliday by a length and a half. American Rule is third on the outside. Saving all the ground is Mango M, 3.5 lengths off the lead, and King Cause is right in that group too. The JY has 6 lengths to make up, then Lawn Twist and Tikvin Flew. They're coming to the top of the stretch of 45.61 half. Into the stretch, and here comes Halliday to the neck of Corky. Corky and Halliday, these two 4 lengths ahead of King Cause, who's now third on the outside. Lawn Twist has made up ground and is continuing to do so on the far outside. And then comes the JY, but it's still Corky and Halliday, and Halliday takes the lead. Corky is second, King Cause third. It is Halliday. John Velasquez by 3/4 of a length on the wire over Corky. King Cause was third, Lawn Twist was fourth.
Halliday, he had to dig in and grind here to get by Quirky, who ran a good race here in the front end. John Velasquez, Todd Pletcher, Harold Ventures.
Wow, 121 and change. They're flying on the turf course today. Quirky, great ride by Luis Saez to sort of keep the Ford tiny bit pinned, and he had to make him come out late, but Ford just wore him down.
Yeah, I think John Velasquez did a good job of making sure in that 21-28 first quarter is obviously completely inaccurate. I think it was a very tepid first quarter. I think John Velasquez sensed it. And he wanted to make Quirky run just enough, and then he got him clear and get outside of him. And I think John Velasquez, I know he's a 3-5 winner, but John Velasquez did everything right to make sure Quirky did enough work, and he never lost that position with Halliday because it turned into a bit of a dogfight in the stretch.
In the end, about a length win for Halliday. This horse has talent.
Yeah.
2 wins now, 2 seconds, and 4 turf starts.
Yeah, and you wonder if it's the turf, if it's the blinkers off, but the talent is obvious. And maybe sprinting on the turf, maybe they'll try stretching out now that he's 3 and he's gotten a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call this winning like a 3-5 shot should. There's still some give in the ground. I have no idea how accurate the time is because you know that first fraction's wrong, so you just bring it into question. So we'll see, because it seems like an awfully quick time given the rain we got yesterday. We'll see how things turn out. He got it done. Not an impressive win, though.
4-9-5-6. As Halliday now picks up his second win on the turfs on a war front out of a Tapit mare. Wins for trainer Todd Pletcher. Well, the prices from this one when we come back. We get into stakes action to set it up for you when we return. The Grand Prix American Jockey Club Invitational is next. Prices from this 7th. Kicked off this late pick 5. 2 wins today for Johnny V. We'll be back.
Good Samaritan, the last great son of Harlan's Holiday. A debut winner at Saratoga, followed by 14 consecutive graded stakes performances. A Grade 2 winner on dirt and turf.
Good Samaritan to the Breeders' Cup.
Good Samaritan has taken the lead and he's pulling away.
Out of the family of Sky Mesa, Bernstein, and Champion Outstandingly. The last great son of Harlan's Holiday is only at Windstar Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Hip 596, a colt by Eclipse champion Run Happy. Out of the well-proven Quiet American mare, Queen of America, this colt is a half-brother to 4 graded stakes horses, including Well Moneyed, Economic Model, and Your Love. His second dam is half-sister to Grade 1 stakes winner Nanny's Sweep. Consigned by Claiborne Farm, selling at Keeneland, September.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back. You're watching America's Day at the Races here at beautiful Belmont Park. Well, a popular victory here in race number 7 as Halliday takes down the field, wearing down Quirky late in the stages of the 7 furlong contest. And who else on his back? The Hall of Famer John Velasquez, who I'm pleased to be joined here in the winner's circle, picking up your second win of the day. But Johnny, Halliday reunited with him, back to the winner's circle. He seems to love this 7 furlong distance at Belmont.
I think he did. You know, he broke his maiden here for a long layoff and gone 7/8, and then come back here again, kind of repeat the same kind of race when he broke his maiden. So maybe he's just a distance what he likes best.
And he seems to kind of really lock on to a horse that's on the front end and kind of battle them to the wire.
He gets a little bit aggressive, you know, so I wanted to have somebody in front of him, and I kind of put the other horse in front of him, and he kind of back up the bridle a little bit on the turn, so I make sure I put a little bit of pressure to the other horse. And when he liked the other horse, like you said, it took him a little bit to pass him, but when he passed him, he got away.
Now coming up next in the Grand Prix American Jockey Club, a really long name, going 1.5 miles here on the main track. You're aboard You're to Blame for Todd Pletcher again, as you guys look to win your 3rd race together. But You're to Blame, you haven't ridden him since last year. Reunited again, is he a horse that is this true kind of distance runner?
Well, it seems like the longer for him, the better he runs. But then again, it's the way he behaves in the gate and the way he breaks out of the gate. So he's a little quirky coming out of the gate. He could be on the lead or it could be last. So if we can be in the middle of the pack somewhere that he can come to a nice rhythm, I think we got a better chance.
Is he one who just doesn't like to stand necessarily?
He just, for whatever reason, sometimes he doesn't pay attention, he doesn't brake, or does something in the gate that is not ready for it. So one of those things is depends on what he does in there.
Well, we have faith in you, Johnny, that you'll pilot him to the best trip possible. Best of luck, but congratulations on a nice day already.
Thank you again. Thank you.
All right, guys, you're to blame coming up for Johnny V from that rail position. See, 1.5 miles might be the answer, Greg.
Yeah, looking for number 3 this afternoon coming up in that Grand Prix American Jockey Club Invitational on You're to Blame. But Halliday, I thought this was a decent, I mean, this was, I didn't think he was ever going to lose this race. Did you guys?
I don't know. The 9 was digging in the stretch. I mean, I'm not trying to knock him. I think he ran fine. You know, 3 to 5 shots, you sort of expect him to win a little more impressively. But maybe it was a better field than sort of the betting gave it credit for going in. And obviously the winner, the second horse ran fairly well. I'm trying to find what the accurate first quarter is because I don't think they were moving that fast, which probably compromised the closers.
John Velasquez will ride this one. Coming up next in the Grand Prix American Jockey Club Invitational, that's You're to Blame, who is a winner at 1.5 miles in the past, is a winner here at Belmont in the past for trainer Todd Pletcher.
And maybe the one to catch, you heard Johnny tell Maggie, listen, the gate's going to be what dictates my journey. And you see the 2 scratch here and Highland Sky. If he breaks good, I could be on the front end. If he breaks bad, we'll see what happens. Both Andy and I both like Realm with the wide trip that he had last time, but the horse to beat is Marconi.
You don't like Realm. You love Realm, don't you?
With 3 Vs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming up, we'll give you our final thoughts on this race. Todd Pletcher with You're to Blame, but he also has Marconi, who's the horse to beat, coming up. Jose Lezcano will be aboard. Horse who has won at this distance, loves Belmont as well, and he has had Rocketry's number more times than we can count.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including multiple stakes winner Autumn Warrior and Sipacan Harbor, winner of the Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes at Saratoga. On the track, Orb continues to add winners. And in the sales rate, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $250,000 in 2019. Classic winner, classic pedigree, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're on. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
Dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 on Turf Triple Day. The next coming up, of course, the Grand Prix American Jockey Club Invitational. Then it is the Jockey Club Oaks. Jockey Club Derby worth $1 million. And a rematch of the Belmont Derby and Saratoga Derby winners. But as for the race we have coming up next, Marconi for Todd Pletcher, there's no question. He's the horse to beat. He's 8-5 on the board right now. There's a look at the big gray son of Tappet. Jose Lezcano back aboard today.
Yeah, he's really turned into a distance specialist, hasn't he? And he does it with his tactical ability that he has. He can just rate. If you look, besides the Suburban, listen, you're running against different horses, but in the Brooklyn, he was able to take a field gate to wire. Before that, in the flat out at 1 mile and 3/8, he was off the pace. So he's very versatile. But this day, if you put him on the front end, it looks like they're all getting to him, but they're not. You know, there's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horses surrounding him, and the gray in front looks like he's going to get beat, and he's just not. He just keeps on giving you more.
That $2 million class kicking in.
Yeah, it is, and I get it. I liked Realm, who was on the complete outside, but the more I keep looking at that race, was Realm ever really going to get to Marconi? I think today will be a little bit closer, but we'll see what happens.
Do you really want to give Rocketry another chance to turn the tables? 5 times he's faced Marconi. All 5 times he has finished behind him.
Yeah, it's tough, right? When do you sort of throw in the towel on Rocketry? But then you look at a couple of his races. The first 2 times he stepped on dirt, he won and ran back-to-back 100 buyers. And since then, he's got a couple second-place finishes in the Brooklyn and the flat out. But his Suburban, his Birdstone was a little bit better last time. The Suburban, they put blinkers on him. So I would draw a line through that. The thing about him is, I keep saying this, he's a high-headed horse. I never thought he would love the dirt, considering the kickback and the way he runs. But he's liked it. I just, you know, when you're 0 for 5 against another horse, if he turns the table on me on the 6th time, good on you, because I'm just not going to use him.
Meanwhile, Realm for Barclay Tagg. Now, he's tried Marconi on a couple of occasions, too. He has never finished in front of him. But there's some reasons to think today could be different.
No, because in the Brooklyn, I think he really loved the 1.5 miles, Greg. It was the first time he stretched out to that distance. He's a 6-year-old that had been running 7 furlongs as a 5-year-old, and they stretched him out to 1 1/8 miles, and he won the Aladar, and they figured, okay. They went to the Kelso, too short. Went back out to 1 3/16 miles, got beaten by Marconi, but then the 1.5 miles, he might have been best that day. I think the 1.5 miles is right up his alley, and he's really relished, and that's why I think he's the second choice right now.
This board not separated by much, with your favorite 3 horses at 3-1 on the board, including You're to Blame, the other Todd Pletcher runner. He's tried Marconi. He's tried Rocketry. He hasn't finished ahead of those 2.
Yeah, what gives here, right? Does You're to Blame break good, like Johnny V was telling Maggie a little bit earlier, and go to the front end, and Marconi lays off the pace like he's done before? The thing about Marconi, too, he's a 4-year-old, so he still has time to improve, where You're to Blame is a 5-year-old, and I'm not saying he doesn't have time to improve, but he needs to turn the tables. Rocketry's gotten the best of him, too. So maybe he goes to the front end with Johnny V in the irons.
14 minutes to post in the Grand Prix American Jockey Club Invitational. Marconi, your big favorite. And we're going to be signing off here in just about a minute or so. You can catch the conclusion of this card on NYRABets.com or on the NYRABets app as you look at Marconi right there.
Don't forget, if you somehow try to beat the big-time favorite, you got the pick 4. Or if you got the favorite and you're like, I really don't think the pick 5 is going to pay, you got to lead pick 4.
Yeah, you do. It begins right here. And again, a couple of races could be very wide open.
Yeah.
We know that in the Trinity division for the Colts, it's been a couple of chaotic, big price winners coming in. Today might be different, but so far 20-1, 13-1 in those first 2 legs.
No, I agree with you. And I think it's going to be somewhat formful going into the last race. And I think a lot of people are going to use the 1 and an 8. If you could beat one of those 2 horses, you'll get paid in the last.
But
that might be tough to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
European flair to this one in both the Tiara and Trinity divisions. And those shippers looking pretty tough. Henley's Joy, Belmont Derby winner. Back where he won here at 20-1 to kick off this inaugural Turf Triple Series. A thread of blue. Looking to take the final 2/3 of the Turf Triple. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 Eastern on Fox Sports 2.